Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Come on in, take a seat, Panther fans. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. The Panthers are red rifling through free agency at this moment. We had a good show last night about the very first moves that the Panthers made, their very first foray into free agency. Last night was a great show, a lot of good content, but there's still plenty to talk about. Andy Dalton signed to the Carolina Panthers as bridge quarterback, backup quarterback, whatever you think, controversial quarterback to some. And now the Panthers are also looking for some wide receivers out there, and there are names floating around like DJ Shark, Brandon Cooks, Adam Thielen. I got a Thielen. He's going to be visiting with the Carolina Panthers soon. So we've got a ton to talk about. Plus, can the Carolina Panthers, will they, some bizarre world, trade back in this draft? Is that a possibility? And I don't know. We had a lot. We were getting down a rabbit hole last night with all these potential conversations. Nothing slows up, and you're in the right place if you love the Carolina Panthers. And I do it each and every Tuesday with my wheelman, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn. It's a Tuesday night, so you know I'm pumped to be talking about my favorite football team in the entire world, the Carolina Panthers, here with my boys every Tuesday night. Man, listen, rumors of Adam Thielen, we're going to give him a workout. As you said, DJ Chark, Brandon Cooks, and the Red Rifle is here in Carolina. This is our third New Orleans Saint that we have signed in free agency, man. Are we the Carolina Saints? What the hell, man? We're going to talk about it tonight. Is Andy Dalton a quality backup for the Carolina Panthers? But you already know we're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. It's Brandon R., Dakota, David R. Screws, Jeff R., Kevin, Lawrence Trevette, Leon Hart, what's up? Pad 1 Panther, Panther Pickle, Rock Rhyme, Roosevelt Mongo, Skunk 8 Mysteries, Smells Like Blue, Cardiac Cat 13, and the Vol Guy 23. Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll. If you missed yesterday, the entire day, or the C3 Panthers podcast free agency show last night, you'll know that Bradley Bozeman was signed, securing kind of a fan favorite and an anchor upon that offensive line. We also got Von Bell added to the defense as a safety, a former Saint too, by the way, coming from the Bengals, and Shy Tuttle to help maybe fill out that 3-4 transition as the Carolina Panthers are starting to show a little signs of what they're going to look like going forward, despite them having 22 players under contract or something like that. CK, free agency has been important to them. And first, I would like to say congratulations on your upcoming baby, because tonight is you're our baby. You're our baby, CK. And tonight we're going to do a little baby shower, a virtual baby shower for our man. I'm about to drop the link to the Amazon shopping cart for this man who is having not an unexpected baby, not an unplanned necessarily baby, but not in the original plan baby. Now he's going to be a multi-dad. Finally, you're getting rid of the hobby baby, and you're entering the big leagues.
Well, I'm keeping the first one. I'm not going to get rid of him. But I will say that it was something we were. It wasn't a surprise. It was something that we had kind of come to the discussion that we were going to have another one. But I do appreciate you being willing to put that out there again. Do not feel as though this is an obligation to anybody in the chat to help out. I honestly feel weird about it being out there, but I do appreciate the help and Nick Montiero for being the first one to come out there and help me out and getting things back on track here with having a new baby on the way. But as far as the Carolina Panthers, man, this has been an interesting day. Nothing, I wouldn't say many blockbusters, but it does bring up the question, is Andy Dalton going to be mentoring another Ohio State quarterback?
Who was the first one he mentored?
Justin Fields.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, I mean, I guess that's who I think that's who we all think we're leaning towards right now. There is the Panthers are being associated with every name possible, but and we'll get into the Andy Dalton talk in depth at some point, but if you want to look at a player that kind of resembles the style of play, right, is in that type of familiar, I guess kind of pocket passer, limited mobility, not like it doesn't suggest we're drafting Anthony Richardson. Yeah, by getting Andy Dalton as the quarterback, if that is the mentor. So we'll talk about that. Right. So still a ton to talk about. Also, a lot of things happening through the NFL all over the place. From Aaron Rodgers now pulling the strings for 2 teams. I love that. It's like this guy is the man, dude.
I'm more and more on Greg's side every single day, man.
Yeah,
he's a diva, man.
Oh, he totally is. But so we got that, and Greg's in the house. What's up, my man? How are you?
What's up? I'm doing good, man. Having a really good day off. Like I said, drinking some Wake Forest Deacon Brew. And CK just raised a good question there, but I've got another really good question. I think this is one we got to answer tonight. Is we're one ginger away from saying that Fitter and Tepper have a fetish, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
was
3 is the number, right?
What was it? Darnold?
Yeah, Darnold, now Dalton. 3's the number. I'm just saying I'm available to
I'm available to play quarterback.
Sign for a contract or do anything for the Panthers. Yeah, so yeah.
I hear you.
So,
All right. Get in the phone calls, folks. The number's 252-228-5098. You can be a part of the show. We'll sprinkle your calls in throughout the night. 252-228-5098. Tell us what you think about the Panthers opening foray into free agency. Do you like Andy Dalton? Was there somebody else out there that could have been a better acquisition? Did they overpay? Where should we go next? And Cody, let's just say, where should we go next in this show? I don't know. Where do we start? The Red Rocket? The Red Rifle? Where do we start?
Yeah, I mean, we have to start with a little bit of the Red Rifle. Fitter has been on a roll lately. And I don't know. This is very controversial depending on who you're talking to. Depending on what you think this means. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle himself, is a Carolina Panther. The veteran free agent quarterback, Andy Dalton, has reached an agreement on a 2-year, $10 million deal that includes $8 million fully guaranteed with the Carolina Panthers, a max value of $17 million. And if I put this in the right order here, let me make I believe it was Will Kunkel put out that he was pretty much the only one who was willing to basically kind of accept his role. That, Jacoby Brissett was looking for a more of a long-term starter type of a deal. And whereas Dalton knew that he would come in here and sort of be a backup. It was Joe, no, wrong one, damn. But it seems as though Andy Dalton knows that he's a backup and he doesn't mind that role. So with that being said, dude, I love this, man. You could do far worse for a backup quarterback than Andy Dalton. I mean, I really do, especially knowing that we played 4 quarterbacks last year. If you have an injury, yeah, you're going to need someone to be able to step in a pinch. And I think Dalton is a good sign for that.
He's not a bad sign. Actually, I don't really care what people think. Well, I do. I care what all y'all think, and I want you to get in the calls and get in the chat and tell us what you think. But for me, I just looked at the number for how much did this cost, right? Because whoever we get, we're not gonna love. we're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh my God. I mean, maybe like even we were all gonna be waiting for that draft pick. We're all just looking at them as a placeholder, a bridge at worst, a placeholder at best until we get that rookie rolling with the ones. And I just look at this and I look at it as like, hey, this is a 2-year, not, you're paying a little heavy for a backup quarterback, but you're paying heavy for a backup quarterback in a time where you need someone that could probably be there for 2 years. I mean, really, it's a 1-year deal. They can get out it. It's 1 year, $10 million. So after this season, they could get out of it. They could find a way to renegotiate, to restructure that contract if they are interested in keeping him around and he likes working with Reich and the clipboard and Josh McCown. So I guess, I mean, if we're upset, we got to be upset about the $10 million. But isn't that probably the rate right now?
It's basically $8 million.
Well, and also I kind of look at it like this: if we're signing him and he's coming in knowing he's going to be a backup, we're almost putting ourselves in the same kind of position we did with Cam coming in, where we have a good backup quarterback. Because didn't we claim for the longest time, at least it ended up being that way, that we had the best backup quarterback in the NFL with what's his name?
Oh, Derek Anderson.
Yeah, Derek Anderson. Like
hated that
look,
dude.
Dalton's a 2011 draft class. He came out of the same class as Cam Newton. He was highly touted coming out of that class, and he did have a lot of success in Cincinnati.
He's had more success than who. I kind of think of this as isn't this better than what Pittsburgh did last year with Trubisky?
Yeah.
In fact, let me look up the Trubisky deal as you guys. But like
this, a lot better, dude. People forget that Dalton was a starter for a long time for the Cincinnati Bengals, and in fact, and dude, that year 2015, which is very special to Panthers fans, the Cincinnati Bengals were one of 3 undefeated teams for a long time that year. So Andy Dalton has played a lot of good football, and I'm excited to at least have some stability behind whoever we're going to draft. Now, the real question is, and this is what has everyone terrified, does this open the door for the Panthers to either trade down, maybe with the Colts or whoever wants to trade up a little bit, in order for us to take Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, or, God forbid, take them at number 1. And there's so many rumors floating around about who the Panthers are interested in. I don't know. It just the terrifying scenario is that this opens the door for one of those dudes at number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what it says for that, to be truly honest with you. I think this is honestly just signing a legitimate backup quarterback, because I think that if you're going for Young or Stroud, then there's no question that they're going to be the starter coming in, and I don't see a reason in trading up for number 1 if you're not going for one of those two guys. Just period.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to love this no matter what. Is he going to be just a backup? Or do you think the Panthers are coming into this with the attitude that we might even try to sit our number 1 draft pick until we feel he's ready? Are they going to start him from day 1, you know what I'm saying, with this guy right there?
Yeah, if we don't trade down, then he's a backup. If we trade down, and we pick an AR, for instance, Andy Dalton's going to be our starter. And I hate to say that, guys. Andy Dalton is going to be our starter if, in fact, we decide to trade down. Now, that's not the worst thing in the world, but I'm personally a fan of, getting a guy who's ready to start. I know that there's a lot of value in letting the guy sit for a year, but I just don't know that we're in a situation where we can do that. I think we have to get this guy out on the field, and we have to be able to. I don't think that the franchise can afford not to have a guy who is going to be the face of the franchise immediately. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're picking number 1 and you don't trade back, that guy has to be on the field come week 1.
I agree.
Yeah, and again, it no matter what, this shouldn't scare you. It should make you feel good that we do have, and comfortable backup.
Mhm.
Now, and listen, man, this is not me giving up on my belief in the talent that is Matt Corral. But dude, now you might as well see what you can get for the kid. I mean, even if it's a fifth round draft pick, man, it's like he's not going to be the guy over Andy Dalton or whoever we draft number one. I genuinely do feel bad for the kid. I feel like we never got a chance to see what he was capable of doing. But I mean, if this is going to be what it is now, yeah, man, we might as well see what kind of draft capital we can get for Matt Corral at this point.
Does
And this
this
is
mean
not me
PJ
saying that
Walker's
he's
done too? Does
probably.
this mean that the Panthers? Well, I mean, they're going to run with somebody into camp. They got to run with a third. What it's going to be that Jacob Eason dude? Maybe their third quarterback in camp.
Maybe.
Just in camp. It's like not that somebody they're going to keep on the roster throughout the season, but you're going to have some bodies out there to do some stuff when the other guys are taking a break. I saw somebody say, "Boy, you better get the sunscreen ready for Spartanburg, Andy Dalton, because you're about to get cooked out there."
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Hey, so do we really have to look into signing somebody else? I mean, we have Corral on the second year of his rookie contract. He's got 3 years on his rookie contract. Why couldn't maybe he get something for him, but it might just be worth it just to keep him, just to have a third guy.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean,
we thought he was going to be a starter one day when we drafted him.
If I was Matt Corral, I would probably be wanting to go somewhere.
I mean, you probably just want a shot, period. It doesn't matter where it's at. And now, to be honest, it's going to be fleeting. It's going to be difficult to get a shot anywhere, honestly, like a real one. Look, somebody put in the sideshow said, didn't Frank Reich draft Jacob Eason? So you can go ahead and mark that down then. If that's the case, then you got yeah, those are going to be the three quarterbacks right there is Dalton, the rookie, and Eason. Yeah, and you might as well get something for him. I don't know what you could get. That'd be interesting. Who would you – I don't know who would be a good fit for that, but we'll be continuing to monitor. Obviously, the quarterback situation is the talk of Panther Nation. What's up next?
Yeah, so Bradley Bozeman, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, signed, and he is back with the Carolina Panthers. We have been waiting for this for such a long time. I mean, listen, all followers of the C3 Panthers podcast know that we did a charity drive for them earlier in the year, helping kids get all kinds of supplies and things that they need. And, we love Bradley Bozeman. He's even taken on the identity of the white rhino, which I love. But listen, man, we have a special gift from Bradley Bozeman to the C3 Nation, courtesy of your very own Codizzle Allen making this happen.
Hey, this is Bradley Bozeman with the Carolina Panthers. So excited we signed back with Carolina for the next 3 years. Me and my family are ready to get back there. We got some of the best fans in the NFL and can't wait for this upcoming season. Keep pounding.
Yeah, Bradley Bozeman back in the building, telling us to keep pounding. CK, that was cool. I appreciate that, brother. And boys, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about? I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but they talked a little bit about how this is family, and the Panthers organization treats their players like family, and they exude that quality.
Do you think that's a little sucking up?
Who?
Like the fan? Like who is the Panthers? I guess is that just Tepper? Because we don't know anybody else at this point. Maybe Fitter. Like who is this who treats them like family?
No, I think that's what the Panthers have wanted. That's what we've done for a long time. And I think when people do stay here, that's why they do it. Because we do have this family vibe and atmosphere at the best of times. And even though we've been through different regimes, that's one thing that seems to be constant when the Panthers are doing well.
Well, do you think some of it has to do with fans maybe too? I mean, I know personally the C3 Panthers podcast, we've shown him a lot of love. We've loved the Bozeman family being here. And I think fans all around have too. Do you think maybe that's what he's talking about when he's saying feel like family? Like he's being accepted by the crowd, by the Panthers culture.
Well, yeah, we have. We've been all in on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lynn says Nikki have said they got the direct support from the Teppers.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Look, as everybody has been, he's been a great story. I don't know if I can remember a free agent who signed a 1-year deal who was so beloved that also struggled to find the field at some point in the season, who ran his wife beautifully and masterfully runs their social media to make them fan favorites. And I'm not saying it's manipulative. I mean, they're just good at it. She's just good at being open and giving you a window and making you feel like they're normal people. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, we felt included in their process of the baby. Speaking of more babies, we're having a baby shower tonight for CK. Roosevelt Mungo gave the show $20 and CK, the baby walker, off your Amazon wish list. Walk that one right off the list.
Hey,
thank you so much, Roosevelt Mungo. You didn't have to give a $20 dono on top of that. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome.
Patron Saint Roosevelt Mungo. He's the man.
True that. I think that what's awesome about Bradley Bozeman is that, one, we were so excited for him to come in after Paradis and F-Line, and then they still had this weird, I don't know, they were kind of like, it was like, why'd you go get him? And then you didn't want to play him, it seemed like. And then he played well. Very well.
It's no surprise that it was Matt Rule. Just couldn't evaluate or identify talent to save his life. We brought in Bradley Bozeman for a purpose, and yet Pat Elflein got the start over him. It was just an utter lack of NFL talent evaluation, and it just makes us even more happy that we're finally rid of this man. No more Matt Rule messing things up for Panther fans everywhere, dude.
Yeah, and Matt Fool is gone. I wrote a story on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. By the way, I've got some response. I'm still going to reply to you guys who have shown some interest in writing and contributing to the website. I'm opening it up to all C3 fans. Let's make this. This is the people's show. We're the people's voice, the C3 Panthers podcast. Let's make Carolina Cat Chronicles the people's voice. And you guys go and do whatever you want with the with the website. I want to see your creative energy go. I put up a story though, Cody. Imagine how Matt Rule reacted when he heard the news that Carolina traded up for number 1. It's just, you could think of the thoughts and the passive aggressive compliments. And our friend Dennis, what's his name? Dennis, I forget his last name, that does the Not Matt Rule. He came on the show and did his impersonation of Matt Rule. He did a video on his podcast. He has a podcast, and he said something to the effect of, well, you're lucky I got DJ Moore so much volume while I was here so he could get traded so you could get that. Like, he took all the credit for all of it. It was fun. Bozeman, look, is CK, wasn't it you last night who said that the center market's just depressed right now? Like, as in they're not getting paid throughout the league. Was it you that said that, or did I hear that somewhere else?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. It went through the floor. Now you have Jason Kelsey, of course, coming in here and making a really big 1-year contract signing, but I almost feel like that was just a farewell contract because this is most likely almost a guarantee this will be his last year. But yeah, no, it was really a really big dip in the market compared to what I think many people were expecting the Sinners to go for. Yeah,
well, and that's good for us. That's good for us. Kind of not bad for the Bosley family. I'm sure they're going to be just quite fine. But, it's not the days of, remember Matt Paradis getting all of that money and then coming off an injury. So it's not those days anymore. Glad to have Bradley Bozeman back. To be honest, guys, I would not mind to see the Panthers dip their toe into offensive linemen and free agency some more. and just I want to see some guys. Well, I mean, I guess maybe we really have some faith in Cade Mays. Are some of these guys going to be able to step up? I just want to see some depth. We're going to need to be able to weather a guard getting hurt this year, or what I'm saying, we've got to weather those types of storms throughout the year, and that's how you get a strong, an offensive line that can sustain throughout the league. It's a tough position to play, one where they get nicked up, banged up easily. What do we got next, Cody? Oh, the Panthers, the Tonight Show. Do the Carolina Panthers have enough firepower? And I guess this is the next component of free agency, right? Is how do we get some weapons for whoever, Andy Dalton at this moment, for whoever that quarterback is we draft in the absence and without DJ Moore now. You're on muted.
So because of that, now the Panthers, we are bringing in Adam Thielen for a workout tomorrow. And a lot of fans have been talking about this, have been really interested in Adam Thielen. And, I mean, my question is, what do we think this does for our offense? Would this be a big-time enough signing for our offense to sign an Adam Thielen? Is that enough weapons for whoever we're going to end up drafting? To me, it opens up a lot of questions. He was a really good wide receiver in Minnesota, but for as good as he was never really the number one. Stephon Diggs was the number one when he was there, and then they draft Justin Jefferson, and obviously everyone knows what Justin Jefferson went on to do with Minnesota. But do we think that he would be a good fit here in Carolina? I personally do. I think he's a precise route runner, has really good hands. You're going to have to shade some coverage to him, especially when they put him in the slot. I think it would be a great signing. I don't know how expensive he's looking at being, but I would love this signing if the Panthers made it.
Let me see. When he came into the league, he did not in 2013. He didn't even receive an invitation to go to the combine. He was undrafted.
Yeah, he was a surprise when he was having he was breaking records for the most consecutive 100 100-yard games in a row. The dude was getting some really good seasons in there. He is on the back end of that. He hasn't been as explosive as he once was, but as many of these wide receivers end up doing, that's pretty common. So but I do want to thank everybody who's already gone on and helped out with that registry. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, a few other people that have posted in here. You guys are awesome.
He's always had a, you could have said the same thing about Masim Muhammad though, Cody.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is like that. He never was the guy. He was always second fiddle to Steve Smith in that case. Or Thielen was is really, he kind of reminds me of a dude that's similar to, and maybe not the same game, but Ricky Proehl is a guy that's savvy enough. Never was great. Ricky Proehl actually was really good early on, but never the best dude on the field, but always a good player to have on the field. And I think he would bring a professionalism to the room that you're going to have to help these younger receivers try to find. I think you would need to dip early into the draft, though, if this is your answer. This is a short-term answer, but this is one of those stories that might work. Like, this kind of reminds me of the signings that we used to make in 2013 or 2015, where you get a guy who, they're past their prime, but they still got a little air in the tires, a little gas in the tank left to be contributors. I mean, who would be a better addition, him or DJ Shark? And I know that one player you're going to expect more and pay more on a longer term. I would think Shark would be, he's more in his prime. Right. So, but who is going to play the role that you need? Do you need a veteran for their presence, or do you need production on the field more?
I think production on the field is more important, to be honest with you. I think at this point in Adam Thielen's career, DJ Chark has a higher ceiling than Adam Thielen does. But I think you're good with signing both of them. I'd sign both of them. You know, they give you two different things, though. Adam Thielen was more of a slot receiver kind of guy. DJ Chark's a speed guy. So you're getting a tall speed guy with DJ Chark. You're getting a nice slot receiver with Adam Thielen. I think the combo of those with TMJ would be pretty legit, to be honest with you. That's a pretty good trio of wide receivers. And then you have to spend a draft pick on a possible rookie wide receiver.
And by the way, we're the first person or the first team working out Adam Thielen tomorrow. So we're going to be the first people to get a look at him. I'm assuming that means if we like him then and there and we have a good deal, we might not even let him walk out the building. Like if we think that he looks good and that he's healthy, we might decide to just sign him right then and there. My question is, DJ Chark also, theoretically available for the Carolina Panthers. 6'3", ran like a 4.37 at the combine, has incredible physical upside. He was an LSU receiver. Pair him with another LSU receiver and Terrace Marshall Jr. Would that be one of the more underrated receiving cores in the NFL? And would you mind paying a little more for that DJ Chark upside?
Does that make DJ Chark your number one? If you do that, is the question.
I don't know.
This is the thing. Is this is kind of going down the route of an old of the Lions team. Actually, he played with the Lions and the Jags. It's just a bunch of number twos.
Yeah,
everybody's a number two on the team, which might not be a terrible thing. Is it better to have two number twos than have a one and nobody, or have no number twos? And can you add in somebody in like the third round of the draft who's maybe unpolished that's going to be the bomb diggity later on? I don't know. I like the idea of Shark and TMJ together. I think that would be a cool addition, but you're right. That's tough, Greg, when you say, is he the number one?
I mean, the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl without a number one wide receiver.
Right.
You know, so I mean, it's possible if you got the guy who can sling it to him.
Well, if there's one thing that'll push you over the edge, it's the one thing that's going to annoy the heck out of you, and that is me getting this stuck in your head. DJ Chark, do 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 do. DJ Chark, do 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 do.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Well, you better be ready for that song in particular. You've got a lot of that song in your near future.
Oh yeah.
But
guys,
we have. Yeah, but no, I was gonna say, well, if we're gonna talk about adding firepower, there's one more theoretical weapon out in wait for the Carolina Panthers. Although this would involve giving up some draft picks to go and get him. The man who has seemingly played on every NFL team imaginable. That's right. Brandon Cooks is on the trade table. The Texans and the Panthers have mutual interest in a trade for Brandon Cooks. It says serious negotiations have not yet begun. And again, this is per sources, so trust at your own risk. We're just providing you the news and information. Boys, I personally would rather sign Adam Thielen or sign DJ Chark than trade draft capital for Brandon Cooks. He's played on a whole bunch of teams, but as YB Jordan is bringing to our attention, he was also a Saint. So that would make us
drafted by them, wasn't he?
That would make us 4 for 4 in drafting former Saints players in free agency.
Yeah.
So maybe
that's actually why we have to do it more than anything, right? Is we have to do it just so we can make this, so we can have Saints fans. Hold on this. We got to make it so there's more of this in the world. Just the one game where it's like the revenge game, for Brandon Cooks, and then like Tuttle gets a touchdown. Gets a sack or something. Here we go. This is what the Saints fans are going to look like.
Today is turning out to suck. Shy Tuttle, signing with the Carolina Panthers, has been a really good defensive tackle for us for a few years now. And I'll forever be grateful for the stiff arm on Matty Ice. But you are the enemy. You have crossed lines. I didn't have a problem with you signing with Cincinnati. But I've got a problem with you signing with Carolina. I wish you Nothing but the worst. The Panthers. This is the worst one out of all three of them. This is the worst one out of all three of them. Blame it on your mama. Sign it with the Dirty Birds. With the worst organization on planet Earth. The worst business. The worst football. I can't handle this on a Monday. This is the worst thing that could happen in my life right now. Today,
Saints fans are totally not feeling okay, dude.
Dude,
That's hilarious.
you got to see this, and I got to credit. I think it was at Salesman on Twitter that pointed this out. Is look, dude's wearing a Cox Cable shirt, and he's got he's got a Cox. He's like, almost could be taking customer service calls. He's on his break, and then he's like, "Welcome to Cox Cable." Oh my gosh, let's get Brandon Cooks just so that guy has another aneurysm on the day that I don't know. Look at Brandon Cooks. I'm sorry, like my mind lost my thought. Brandon Cooks has been super productive. Isn't it wild to have a receiver? First, he was a number 1 draft pick by the Saints, and he was nasty with the Saints.
He's a burner. He can take the top off of a defense.
He was it was the same year, or maybe it was the year after, Philip Dorsett and Baby Lockett from Seattle, Tyler Lockett. So these types of players that really started to make an impact in the league that were like that. And Cooks was like the most highly touted one, and one who lived up to the hype too. But I've never met a receiver who has been so good, or remember a receiver who's been so good everywhere he goes, but nobody keeps him. He's played, like you said, with every team, and everywhere he goes, he's crazy productive. From New England to the Rams to even in Houston, he was a great fantasy football option until this season when him and the coaching staff went crazy. I guess there is a new staff there. So Brandon Cooks got to feel some kind of way with that front office, though.
I mean, yeah, he's been through a bunch of different regimes there in Texas. So,
but remember, he got in a fight with them last year, and he was asked to be traded, and then he didn't. They sat him out. They sat him. They didn't. It was like he was out, dude, and it was just like arrest, and they put him. I mean, he was battling with that coaching staff, and I think more importantly, the front office to get out of Houston last year, and they were trying to subvert it. And so I don't think the relationship is going to be good there with him. So, I mean, they got to get rid of him, I would think.
Listen to this. The 29-year-old Cooks has been traded 3 times in his career. One more time would have him tie the record with running back Eric Dickerson and linebacker Kiko Alonso.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been everywhere, man. He's
been good, too.
Been everywhere.
I'm going to look up his stats. Go ahead. All right, what do we got? This guy.
Yeah, we have some news pertaining to the Carolina Panthers that I think a lot of fans saw coming. And to be frank, we're kind of happy that it happened. Pat Elflein has been cut by the Carolina Panthers. Pat Elflein is no more. He's one of the last members of Matt Rule's Golden Boys last year in Carolina. Got the start over Bozeman. But after locking up Bradley Bozeman, the Panthers released Pat Elflein. This move saves $4.3 million against the salary cap. So we've been able to free up some money with this. Listen, we still have Cade Mays, who we drafted out of Tennessee last year. Really good player that looked very good in the preseason. I think we could play him at either center or guard. And we're going to be okay. We still have Blastoise, Deontay Brown on the practice squad. Maybe he's able to make a move and get himself up to date. I'm not scared at all of losing Pat Elflein. He was brought in to be a starter and just never lived up to the type of hype that we wanted him to. So no more Pat Elflein.
Yeah, I mean, we should go back and put that picture up of him. We should just cut him for that. That picture, right, God, we should have just, when he showed up to the football game.
He looks like a member of Cobra Kai.
He looks like Stingray.
Yeah. Like he rocks out to some 80s hair metal.
I want to let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know Brandon Cooks and Adam Thielen? This is kind of a neat thing. Is Brandon Cooks and Adam Thielen came into the league at the same year, 2014, and if you go look at Brandon Cooks' numbers, dude, he has had 6 1,000-yard seasons. They have. Let me see. When it comes to receiving yards, Brandon Cooks has 630 receptions over his career for 8,600 yards and 49 touchdowns. Thielen is a touchdown machine. He just went nuts with touchdowns those couple of years. He went 40. He had 534 catches for 6,600 yards and 55 touchdowns. Now, the reason I bring this up, Cody, is because as we're adding and trying to, shape this wide receiver room, if we looked at DJ Shark's numbers, he's been in the league for 5 years now, and he has only had one 1,000-yard season. He came in 2018. He's had his second year, he went 1,000 yards and eight touchdowns. His most he's had since then is in 2020. He had 706 yards. Last year, he only had 502 yards with the Detroit Lions, 3 touchdowns. So these guys, both Brandon Cooks and Adam Thielen, have put up more numbers in like 2 seasons of play than DJ Shark has in his entire career. And he's not a spring chicken is necessarily. I mean, he's definitely younger than those other guys.
Right.
I almost feel like this is that if we were, and I asked you this earlier, Greg, do you want on-field production or do you want the kind of presence of a guy who is kind of a coach player like Ricky Proehl was late in his career here? Arguably, Brandon Cooks is still getting it done, dude. He's probably the way. If you want production, he's the one to get.
He's giving you more production than Odell Beckham has over the last few years, yet somehow Odell Beckham is so much bigger of a name. And it's only because of the one-handed catch. I'm sorry, man. I love Odell Beckham, but he lives off that one-handed catch. His numbers do not show that he's as good of a wide receiver.
He's also been hurt like all the time.
Yeah.
So Brandon Cooks, I think,
has been playing, dude.
Yeah, he's
but
solid.
if we're gonna talk about that, about Cooks and Thielen and them having more production than Shark, then dude, just sign Adam Thielen. I mean, Adam Thielen is reliable in the red zone. You're able to use him in a bunch of different ways. I think in the slot, especially. I mean, when's the last time that we had a dynamic slot receiver that was a legitimate weapon? I think that that's been a while too. So yeah, I would really like to sign someone with production, and if it's between Adam Thielen and Brandon Cooks, yeah, Brandon's the burner that we might need, and if imagine CJ.
Well, I don't
Stroud,
even know if he's still the burner. I think he's just
he
so
better
quick.
be. If he's
he's just quick.
But that's a good
he's
point. If he doesn't have that type of top end speed, then he's almost not worth it anymore. But I don't know that it doesn't either. But I'm just saying part of the reason why you would go and get a Brandon Cooks is his ability to take the top off of a defense.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah. Just more than we'll be, a lot of these questions will be answered for us as we go along. We see tomorrow, you're right, Cody, is that they might not let Thielen walk out of the building. Probably need to get him. There's not a lot of receivers on the market. I think he would be a nice fit. What do we got up next other than this? And then we're going to get to some cat calls in just a moment. The number's 252-228-5098. What do we got, Cody?
Well, everyone's spectral with the 10 Australian bucks. Says just dropping by to show some love from down under P's. Code Dizzle is the GOAT. More Code Dizzle fans in the chat.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Spec.
Yeah, this is you want to do one more thing before we do cat calls?
Yeah, I was also going to say that CK's daughter's name is on the back end of the alphabet, and since this is the CK baby,
if you guys are talking to me, my thing's messed up.
No, just saying this, we're going to guess the name of the baby tonight. He will not tell us. Okay. His wife won't tell us, but it's. I guess when you say back end of the alphabet, he means M or later. So,
is it xylophone?
Xylophone. First guess. Pre-show guest.
I got
was-
it.
Guys, I
I got it.
I
I got it
remember.
on my first try, dude.
Cody's
Let's
got the
go.
xylophone.
Look,
right?
he's quitting. He's gonna have to quit because you got it right away. Greg said "Meta World Peace" earlier, and I don't know. Right now, do you know my friend? I'll just give you one story real quick about my friend I went to a baby shower last weekend, and his name is Kid Atlas. Yeah,
Nice.
but he said he was considering Dragon. And I said, dude, you cannot name your kid Dragon.
Unless he's a badass in martial arts.
Right? It's
Then you
like,
can
I
name
mean, this
Dragon.
guy is my, but I was like, that's verging on child abuse. Like your kid, it's like you're gonna be the coolest kid until like second grade when everybody like figures it out, and you're like, oh, you were so cool, but now your name, and you got to try to pretend like you're French.
You'll grow up hating dragons.
It's
Yeah.
Dragoon. It's Dragoon. It's not Dragon. All right, what do we got next, Cody?
I see xylophone, Zendaya, Zara,
Everybody's
Malik,
automatically going to Z.
Michaela,
That's great.
Khaleesi.
Khaleesi.
That's-
Oh,
yeah,
that's
that's
mine. I
right.
like that one.
That's the first step. Yeah. But, yeah.
Zelda, we see.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. We
How
got, we
about
got a
just-
bunch of-
His name is Cody. His wife's name is Kayla, I think. I don't
Cody.
know.
Yeah,
I
Cola,
thi-
I'm stupid.
Yeah, I think it's maybe this could be something like Sarah. Everybody's like, all right.
But no, I said last night for Panther fans to be vigilant and do not believe everything that you read because it's smoke screen season. And by the way, there's a few of you that are special enough out there and who have a good enough moral code to know not to stay on Twitter all the time. Well, some of us degenerates don't because there's so much to read and learn from Twitter. And this is what you deal with every day. We literally had a report from Albert Breer saying that the football people inside Carolina like Bryce Young. Oh, but the owner loves CJ Stroud. Then Dove Kleiman, he pretty much comes out and says the opposite. Says David Tepper is the one that loves Bryce Young. Oh, but Frank Reich, he likes CJ Stroud. Then earlier this year, around November and December of 2020, there were reports that the Panthers were highly interested in Will Levis. In fact, were very high on Will Levis. This was not too long ago that they're reporting this. Then you get another one. Oh, Frank Reich loves Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson and may be their top pick, according to Peter King. And this is what we've been saying. All of this is calculated. The Panthers, they're making sure that bits of information slip out so that they can throw people off the trail, that no one knows what we're trying to do. All of it is just smoke screens. I guarantee you that all of the actual information on what the front office and what the Carolina Panthers actually feel about the number one pick in the draft, that's being held very tight to the chest. This is all rumors. You
It's two
cannot
people.
fall for it.
It's two people, and they all, it's saying is that for the next 40 days or whatever it is, we got to talk about this. It is Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. Those are the answers.
Right.
Do you remember I told you about that Dove Kleiman guy? I was talking about him last night.
Yeah.
I saw this today. Check this out.
All right. Can somebody explain to me? So this guy Dove Kleiman yesterday, which is I don't even think this man really exists.
Is he a compiler?
He is a compiler. So he doesn't report anything on his own. And he's got hundreds of thousands of followers. I actually had muted him there for a while because it was like he was just everywhere. So it's a covering NFL news and transactions. Recommend to turn on notifications. Contact via DM. Editor and writer at Bro Bible.
I thought he was at Outkick.
Well, now he's at Bro Bible.
Oh, he's at Bro Bible. Okay.
All right. So he's at Bro Bible. And if you go to like Dove Kleiman and you put in like images,
Yes.
there's no pictures of this guy. He doesn't exist.
Maybe he's ugly.
But everybody tweets his stuff.
Maybe it's ugly.
All right, so they go, is he a compiler? Now you can go and look at this tweet, and man, they put this out. And what's kind of awesome actually is, you know what is always, where's the best part of Twitter all the time? The comments.
Oh yeah.
You know, the
Always.
best part of Twitter is the comments. Look, Dove Kleiman comes and talks about it. He says, I'm an aggregator, just like you are. So that was kind of a good one. But then there's all of this weird stuff that's going down about Dove Kleiman and this. Hold on, where is it? There's a story about him having when the Fappening came out. You remember that?
Oh no.
And he like had a crazy fetish for Jennifer Lawrence, and that's how he got kicked off of YouTube or something. So, like, dude, the Dove Kleiman story is the real story that we need to be following with the smoke screen. Who is this propagandist?
Who is that? Who is the random propagandist sowing seeds of chaos throughout the Twitter lands?
He has like 150,000 followers too.
Dude, what a legend. I love it.
I
That's
know.
awesome.
I know. It's like, is this going to be one of those guys that I went from being very annoyed to for now cheering for him?
Yeah, right.
Like
He's
David
another
Newton.
one.
He's my new
Yeah,
David Newton.
he's another one of those guys. All right. What do you say we jump into some cat calls?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so if you would like to let your voice be heard, call into the cat calls line at 252-228-5098. Leave a message. Let your voice be heard. Let's jump right in to some cat calls.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
Yo, what's up, C3? You know what? I'm just gonna say I'm having a real bad heat. I don't mean as a starter. I mean simply as a mentor. I don't know why we didn't bring back Cam. I mean that's who teaches someone what keep pounding about. No matter what, he's a mentor. I don't know why we didn't get him a call. Maybe we did. Maybe he's gonna go sign, somewhere crazy in the Super Bowl. I'm just kidding. Yo, everything. Love the signings. I love Von Bell the most. I think that's probably the most. Bozeman, yes, but Von Bell, damn. I think he's going to have a good season. Jeremy Chin up in the box. Oh, boy. I think Luvu, our whole defense, and oh, my God, I'm so sick of this slander. Dante Action Jackson is going to show us what he's about. Going to have a breakout season. Like, Dante's going to have a killer season. But no, we need a receiver. For sure, receiver, and I'm going to get blocked for saying it so many goddamn times, but Dalton Kincaid from Utah, best tight end in the class. Let's go. C3. I think we're going to the playoffs. Let's go.
Let's go. Appreciate your call, man. He's been a staunch supporter of Dalton Kincaid. Go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, I love the mindset and the fandom of wanting to bring back Cam Newton, but we need to just let this Cam Newton thing go. And I'm going to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off right here. But if you take away Cam Newton's 2015 season, Andy Dalton has a better career than Cam Newton does. I'm just saying, just go back and look at the stats and look at the accomplishments. I don't want to say it like that, but by the numbers and by playoff appearances and everything else, Andy Dalton's a better.
I didn't listen to.
Yeah, except he's not better at all. And
I'm just saying,
muted you.
Paper fashion.
I muted that. I was like,
oh no.
You remember having to listen to that stupid shit back then too, in the beginning?
Yeah, we were always having to defend Cam because of.
Now we got to do it from Greg.
I know.
Look, I'm just giving you the numbers, okay? I don't think either one of them is a starting.
If only Cam Newton had AJ Green.
I know.
No, I agree with you. Andy Dalton had a lot of advantages.
Here it comes. No, we're not going back into this, folks.
Yeah.
I devoted 8 years of my life to this discussion. And it just was a revolving door of that same comparison between whatever. The number's 252-228-5098. G baby.
What's
loves,
up, C3?
I'm coming back.
It's JJ again.
Hello, JJ.
I've been wondering a lot. Like, what are we gonna do with that 39th overall pick? I think that was the most clutch part of the trade. If we're all being honest right now, that was probably the more like, okay, all right, we still have the 39th pick this year. All right. Like, I felt like that was a very satisfying moment. Outside of, like everything else, the fact that we got the first overall pick and we're going to get a quarterback. But I've been wondering, like, what do we go? Do we go receivers? Do we go tight end? Or do we address those in free agency? Do we address the D line? Or do we do that in free agency? I know we got that one guy from the Saints on a 3-year deal. But I just don't know what we're going to do with that 39th overall pick, because now it is a very valuable pick.
Indeed.
To our franchise
It is.
and how we're moving forward, because we need to nail that pick. We need a starter out of the 39th selection in the draft. And also, I had another question. What is the max money you're paying for Deontay Foreman? In my head, I was thinking something around 2 years, $15 million. That'd be the max I would give him. Outside of that, we could try our luck with something else, whether it's in the draft or eventually someone else in free agency. Probably not that, but I think G Baby said it's a loaded running back draft class, so we should be good if we don't sign Foreman. But I wouldn't mind re-signing him. Tell me what y'all think, C3. Keep pounding.
When it comes to the Foreman question, that's probably the exact numbers that they're kind of debating between. Is like he probably wants something like 2 years, $14 million, 2 years, $13 million, and the team probably wants to give him 2 years, $9 million.
Right.
And that's that $3 million difference, $4 million difference is what they're trying to figure and balance out. Is can you pick that production up? Kind of just like in some random cat throughout the league. Can you basically the next Dante Foreman, or can you get it in the draft? So they're probably going to make them. Is the fact that they didn't announce that one super early. This is one they don't have to rush on. If he's not getting more offers out there, the Panthers can say, look, we got a good spot for you right here, but this is the reality of the matter. The other thing I want to go to is to the pick, Cody. This is something we need to talk more and more about.
A lot, yes.
This is going to be very important to the Carolina Panthers, like the caller said, JJ said, and that is that we're all going to focus on this number 1 pick, but that second round pick means a lot given the fact that everybody's going to talk about what we gave up for in this trade. As I continue to hear people say that we gave up too much, I continue to push at least my position the other way, that we got a really good deal to move up to the number 1 pick. I think that's a premium. That is the coveted selection there. But then when you think about it, you had 2 second round picks and you didn't have, they don't report that in the tweet that, the Panthers were able to preserve the higher of the 2
a very high
picks.
second round pick.
They're very, very selective on that, and that is one of the irritating things as a Panthers fan, is that they are not putting into perspective the fact that was a very late second round draft pick. Like, it's to the point to where it should be the same value of a third.
Yeah, it's damn near a third round pick.
Right.
Easy. But JJ asked one of the biggest questions that isn't being talked about enough in Panther Nation right now. Yeah, we're all torn between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young and looking at their tape and highlights. But what are we going to do with the 39th overall pick? Because right now, as of this moment, we have not made a considerable upgrade to the wide receiver core, and we needed to. We have not made another upgrade to the defensive end position. Now, this is also kind of a misnomer, right? You can say Shy Tuttle maybe he's going to play defensive end in a 3-4, but that's not
It's
going to
not
be
really,
it's not
yeah.
going to be right. It's not going to be your edge pressure that's going to be complementing Brian Burns on the other side. So, what do we do with that 39th overall pick? If we don't get another outside linebacker and if we don't get another wide receiver, then what do you do with that number 39 pick? The caller before, he's been chanting for Dalton Kincaid, the tight end, who's a really good pass catching tight end. I know Tony never wants to spend premium picks on tight ends.
No, I will start
He
to
would be
shop the
available.
39. No, like it's once you get out of the first, and I could you could get me on board for a super late first, but when I'm just sorry, you know what I mean? Like it's
But,
like
I mean,
I
still,
think you bring a great point. Is you got two options? Is that defensive end / outside linebacker is a must on this team, and that's through free agency, the draft. Somehow going forward, you're going to have to continue to load up there because you can't just get Brian Burns out there and say good luck to you by yourself. We've seen that he does the best he can, but it's just not enough when you don't have enough horses in the stable. I think like he also brought up a great point is it needs to be a starter. Yeah. And that's kind of screams skill position to me. Is that actually screams like a tight end or a wide receiver can start from day one. I don't know if a 39, a defensive end that you're going to get in the second round or outside line, if they're really, maybe you get somebody that defies expectations, but usually those guys take a little bit longer to come along. I would just think that's always what I've thought. So I think those are you really answered the question, in my opinion, Cody. It's like that pass rushing presence or a skill player, a wide receiver. And I count like a pass catching tight end as a skill player.
But which one do you value higher, and which one do you think that we're in bigger need of right now? Because this isn't a great.
Well, who makes the fastest impact?
Well, I don't know.
I feel like a tight end would make the quickest impact in the league.
Yeah. And a really nice tight end is such a great safety blanket for a rookie quarterback, no matter what. So, Kincaid is an option there. But and I'll bounce it around to Greg and CK. We'll go to Greg. Greg, what position, especially if we don't address those positions in free agency, what position needs to be valued more highly with that 39th overall pick? Is it receiver, tight end, defensive end? What do you think?
At that point, I'm going to say best player available because it's really going to depend on what we do, like you said, in free agency. But I would like to think that we're going to go get a weapon, an offensive weapon, either a tight end or a wide receiver for this new up-and-coming quarterback based and with everybody else we signed. I put a poll in the chat room about receivers earlier. I'm going to do another one about the 39th pick here in a second. But the fans say 45% of fans and 200 voters say they want Adam Thielen over the Cooks, Chark, or a rookie. So, but I'm going to put the next poll up with what we're going to do with the 39th pick.
Go ahead.
My answer to that question is I have not been shy about this. I am ready for a tight end. A good tight end does so much to help a young quarterback who is maybe trying to learn how to be a quarterback in this league. And I think that is, I know a wide receiver helps, but dang, I'm telling you, like when you think about some of the greatest, man, they've had a tight end that has helped them early on in their career, at least through the highs of their career. So I think a tight end is a big part of it, especially in today's world of explosive plays, but also somebody who needs to be able to help provide some support in the run game, which is going to be important as that the NFL offenses are starting to shift to that power run game.
That's the key, CK, is a tight end that is a pass catching threat, but also an asset in blocking. And this is why the Gesicki free agent pick is a kind of not as cool because like it's kind of limiting in packages. You almost, if you get that good all around tight end that can do both well and one of them great, what they can do is they can just be on the field all the time. So you can still go more wide outs one time. You can still go run heavy, and they're just always on the field And that's where Kelsey is like, I mean, and when that's what Kelsey does. Kelsey does everything, and it just becomes one more piece that it is, and it's not a tell. Like I think Gesicki, when he lines up, is somewhat of a tell of what's happening in a way. But if you have a guy that's going to be out there, regardless if he's the focal point of the play or not, all the time, I think that's a good thing. And you're right, the Panthers, but that's the time you get one of those guys at 39 is the fourth best receiver in this class as good as the second tight end in this class.
Yeah. Another name to mention is Darnell Washington, the mega giant tight end out of Georgia. I believe he's like 6'8". He's like 260 something pounds.
Big. It's like
but
weird.
Dude, he ran a 4.64, and he had a one-handed catch at the combine. The dude is a monster. He's very, very strong. I mean, yeah, right now the names at tight end are Michael Mayer, who we did a video on this channel. You can check that out. Dalton Kincaid. Is it? Yeah, I believe it's Kincaid. I've been saying Sincade. But he is probably the best receiving tight end in this year's draft. Really nice hands, really fast as well. Nice play speed on film. And then big bad Darnell Washington, who will come down with just about anything. Super strong. Yeah, he's like 6'6", 265 pounds. The man is a monster. So a lot of people are comparing him to Gronk. I don't know.
I didn't realize Gronk was 6'7". That is fucking
Gronk
tall, dude.
He's a big dude.
Gronk is a giant dude, man. Hey, but listen, real quick, if you haven't been around the C3 Panthers podcast for too long, then one of the things that you don't know is that in this chat room, oh baby, there's a bunch of freaks, and you know what? These freaks enjoyed being shamed by the voice himself. Cody Allen, talk to these weirdos, Papa.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have done an incredible, put an incredible dent in this Amazon list that I have for the baby shower. My wife is going to be incredibly surprised. She doesn't know I did this. So I want to thank all of you. But I want to also say to all those people who've come in here to enjoy this content that we're putting out, and you haven't hit that like button, I have one thing to say to all you absolute freaks. Subscriber shame.
300 people watching, 100 likes. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. We're here year round having all kinds of Panther discussions. Hit that notification bell for every single time we go live. Hit that like button to help us get seen by more and more people, to help us keep pounding on that YouTube algorithm. And hey, another thing that we don't advertise enough, join our Discord. It's in the link in the description down below of the YouTube video. Fantastic community over on Discord. Check us out, man. C3 Panthers Podcast. We're here for all your Panthers opinion needs. Tony, you want to do some more calls?
Hey, what's up, C3? It's Run DMC Lovato.
What's up, Tyler?
Long time since I've called, but I just wanted to talk about some signings real quick and how I think it fits or doesn't fit our defense. So, Von Bell, I love the player. I love the price we got him at. But it's just weird to me with Xavier Woods, Von Bell, and now Jeremy Chin. If we are running a base 3-4, I just don't know where you're going to be able to put Jeremy if he's not strong safety or free safety.
Line.
Which I don't really like him at free safety. I want him at strong safety, but Von Bell is purely a box strong safety. So I don't want him playing inside linebacker. In a 4-3, he'd be fine as a linebacker. He can play outside linebacker, but in a 3-4, I don't want him playing inside linebacker. I guess he could play in the slot. I don't know. I love the player. I love the price we got him at for Von Bell. I just don't know how it really fits well. And another signing, Shy Tuttle. So I really want Derek Brown to be able to be a defensive end and not a defensive tackle. I think if he was at a 3-4 end, he would be able to get a ton more pass rush opportunities. And Shy Tuttle isn't a pass rusher. He's purely run defense. But people are saying he's not a nose. So he's just a defensive end. So does this mean that Derek Brown is our defensive tackle? And then is he going to be our nose? Like, I want him being a defensive end and getting way more opportunity for rush the passer. What do you guys think?
I love that. Tyler, awesome
start
call.
McCall.
I mean, I think wouldn't you put Shy Tuttle on the inside now? I mean, I would rather put Derek Brown in pass rushing scenarios more than I would Shy
Tuttle.
Tuttle.
There's three of them. There's going to be the nose, right? And then the two ends.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the two linebackers, right? The two outside linebackers. Is that right? Is that how it goes?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
is that you could have Tuttle, McCall, and Brown and Brian Burns all out there and another guy.
I don't know, man.
They just wouldn't have their hand in the dirt. There were only three with their hand in the dirt.
The more
I don't know. That's a great question. He does bring up a good point here. Is that like while we like these players, they're good players in the league. How do they fit into the defense? And we, at this point, we have to kind of trust that Evero has a plan for Jeremy Chin, because wouldn't that be one of the saddest kind of stories to a Panther player as we have hung on to Shaq Thompson at every fucking turn for anything, any little semblance of production. This second round pick was freaking awesome for 2 years, had a tough season last, just not a memorable season under a crazy regime of Matt Rule. It would just be really weird and strange for Jeremy Chin not to be a star on this player next year on this team.
Well, but he does raise a good point. Von Bell primarily plays box safety inside the box.
Yeah.
And that's what Jeremy Chin would do. So there's been this conundrum around Jeremy Chin for a while now where Panther coaches and even Panther fans don't really know where best to fit him. A lot of fans have been chanting forever, including in our chat room, to move Jeremy Chin to linebacker. But we're wondering, like, okay, what is he going to be, an inside linebacker in a 3-4? Maybe he's capable of doing that. In fact, I don't doubt him. I don't doubt that he could do something like that. But I also don't know if he has enough of a pass rushing pedigree to play an outside linebacker either. And if you want
Luvu's more suited for that than
Chin
is.
And if you want to say that Jeremy Chin, there's this notion that he has some liabilities and coverage. Well, if that's the case, do you really want to put him at free safety? I don't know.
I don't think he's fast enough to play
Jeremy
free.
Chin is going to be an interesting player for us to follow going forward.
Yes,
because we really don't know what his future on our defense is.
That's what I'm talking about. And wouldn't it be a bizarre story twist if it was that future really didn't involve him? Imagine that. Is that like, as we're like, and I hope it does. He's like been one of my favorite.
But you
players.
have to play him. He's too talented to not play.
I know,
unless
but
you're
like
talking about trading him.
Right. What if that? I mean, I know it's early. I mean, I'm not saying that. It's just it doesn't. Chin seemed like a guy 3 years ago when after his rookie season, and really I think his sophomore season too, that you were ready to build a defense around him. I felt like he was going to blossom into a player that was an impact type player week in and week out, like a
Troy
Polamalu or a Ed Reed or somebody. And it doesn't matter that exact position. It's just a guy that you build around. It's like like an anchor of your defense. And it just doesn't feel like he's that anymore right now for the vision of the Panthers.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. And also, here I go, forming a connection to a guy on the roster who might not get a lot of playing time. I'm also wondering about Brandon Smith. What is his future? What is it? Because again, this is a guy who's 6'4", ran a 4.3. The dude is a physical freak, and I think that we would be wasting that kind of talent to not put him at inside linebacker. Let him fill the A gaps and B gaps. Let him funnel things to the outside. I like his long-term ability more than Shaq Thompson. And I know that we just re-signed Shaq Thompson, but even his future, I mean, I'm assuming that Shaq is just going to be an inside linebacker for us, but they have a lot of questions on defense that they're going to need to answer before the start of the season.
I do say, think of the speed on this defense. If you had Brian Burns on the field, you had Frankie Louvu on the field, Jeremy Chin on the field, Brandon Smith on the field, Amari Barno on the field. Like, the slowest person in the room is the free safety. It's just kind of bizarre, right? Dude, the nice thing about the combine is we remembered Amari Barno. He's one of those players that you forgot about over the last 5 months or a year. And then in the combine, because he ran the fastest defensive end time, every time the defensive ends came up, they go, Amari Barno. So I was like, hey.
That's another guy that people were excited about. A lot of high-end physical profile, super fast around the edge. A lot of people still want to see what we have in Barno.
And I'll be interested too. Yeah. Another thing is to be kind of interested in how the Fitterer-Reich evaluation of players looks in contrast to the Matt Rule evaluation. So Matt Rule really stuck to the rack score a lot, right? Like, it felt like it was like, let's get the best athlete out of the group, So the fact that you are a defensive end and you run so fast, it's like, oh shit, that's a crazy ass stat. And like in our analytics book right here, this makes this awesome, and this is like isn't that when they compile all of it called the rack score?
Relative athletic.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. And I felt like Rule was big on that. So I wonder, as we kind of like just make mental note of the new regime, the new tone and identity of Panthers, when we revisit this conversation a year from now, how many of those players that were developmental guys are going to be cast-offs, whether it be a Brandon Smith to an Amari Barno? Thinking back to the Ron Rivera time, remember when he got that dude, his dad used to come on the radio a lot in Charlotte. He was a defensive end out of Alabama, Christian, and he played. Do you remember him? He was the last year of the Rivera draft.
Oh yeah,
he was an Alabama defensive end, and his dad is like a preacher from South Carolina who would go on the radio or something. He used to be a former football player, I think.
Christian Miller.
Christian Miller. Thank you, Trey. Is that like his Christian Miller's career was over before it got started? He was in a lame duck regime and he got hurt. And so what is Frank Reich going to care about Amari Barno is what I'm saying.
I don't know.
There's the hope.
I mean, I got faith in Barno. Yeah, I did want to say one thing. I was muted earlier. I was trying to get in when we were talking about it, but I was muted and didn't realize till later. The last time that we drafted a safety and moved him to a linebacker, it worked out pretty well for us. That's all I'm saying. And Jeremy Chin is actually a bigger guy than Thomas Davis. He's 2 inches taller. He's about 10 pounds lighter, but he's 2 inches taller than Thomas Davis.
Well, when he was a rookie, I mean, that was the position that he played, and he was an incredible talent on the field when he was playing in that position. Like, I know he was
playing linebacker his first year.
He was playing a lot of different positions his first year.
The Buffalo nickel, like they tried to play Shaq Thompson when we got him.
Right.
Was Shaq Thompson a linebacker in college?
I don't know.
Remember, Shaq Thompson did a little bit of everything. He played safety, running back.
It's the same player. This is when I got, how I hold superstitious grudges, Cody. This is where when you say I don't like a tight end in the first round, I'm also underwhelmed when you guys tell me that the best thing that this player offers is their multi-tool thing. You guys said the same thing with Isaiah Simmons. They said that 6 years earlier with Shaq Thompson. That's why I bought his jersey. I bought all into that. It's like, oh, he could be all of these things. It's the next generation of football. And that's where we're at again.
Yeah. Well, you missed some.
Shaq Thompson was a running back too. He would not a running back, but he played both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they played him everywhere. They played him everywhere. It's like a adept at all, master of none. That kind of moniker. But I would agree. I would like to see him move to linebacker, see him be aggressive. But I don't know. Lots of pertinent questions facing this Panthers defense.
All right, next call.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Just wanted to call in here, and beautiful day in Charlotte. Crazy time in Panthers Nation right now. A lot of interesting, cool stuff happening. I really think Matt Rule was the whole problem to this. But anyways, it's time to get into who I believe will be the Panthers' choice at quarterback. Now, I'm just going to get it out of the way. You didn't trade up to 1 unless you knew who you wanted. And I think the Panthers are zoomed in on 2 specific guys, Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. I don't really buy any of the rumors going around because they're all saying different stuff. Oh, the Panthers are zoomed in on C.J. and Anthony Richardson, blah, blah, blah. That's all bullshit, okay? From who I've listened to and, talked to separately via DMs or whatnot, and from hearing Scott Fitter talk about this kid months ago, I truly believe the pick is going to be Bryce Young. And I know everyone's high on C.J. Stroud right now, but I think they're just trying to get a feel of what Houston is thinking. Because, in my opinion, Houston didn't want that number 1 pick as much as we did. And that tells me that they're truly fine with whichever quarterback falls to them. Scott Fitter told fans back in November, Bryce Young is, they speak about him in the combine, the way they asked Thomas Brown about what he looks for in a quarterback. He said a point guard, a distributor. I mean, listen, first off, I love both of these quarterbacks. I think it's really close. But I think the traits that if you watch, listen, y'all need to pull up some Bryce Young film. We were watching me and Cody last Sunday. Dude, this kid makes like some improvisation plays like they are just really, really special. His post and pre-snap recognition is awesome. And I just think his processing is on another level. I think these are a couple traits that you trade for. And yeah, they could fall in love with C.J. Stroud, but I personally believe the pick is Bryce Young just based on what they've said about him in the past. And then coincidentally, traded up to 1. I think this C.J. Stroud and AR shit is a smokescreen to see if Houston is interested in those guys.
He's
cut him off?
No, he's got 2 more seconds, a little bit more.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Quick part 2. Just wanted to say 2 things. 1, don't believe any of the smoke. Like, as I said in my last call, all of that is BS, okay? In my opinion, this trade down shit is monotony. You don't trade for the number 1 pick and give up a cornerstone of your team to play these mind games. That's just crazy to me. And secondly, I do want to say I got my Panther Central podcast channel up on YouTube as we speak. I will be posting more content as the weeks go by. If any of y'all would want to jump on and maybe live stream and look up some film at these prospects, I'd be more than happy than welcome you on because I just upgraded my StreamYard. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But don't believe these rumors. It is all a bunch of smokescreen. It is smokescreen season. I don't believe any of this.
I think they have one guy in mind. There's no way you trade up to number one and play these lollygag games like, oh, should we pick this guy? Should we pick that guy? No. You don't trade away DJ Moore just to play these games. I don't see that. I really don't. Anthony from Charlotte, keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Fantastic call from Anthony, starting his own channel. Go ahead, Greg. You want to say something?
I was gonna say I'm kind of with him. I think they know who they want, but one point he brought up was watching some Bryce Young film. I've been sold on CJ Stroud the whole time. Like, that's been the guy that I've been going for. I've been watching a lot of Bryce Young film today. This guy can sling the ball. Like, he's got a beautiful pass. The only thing I worry about is the size. Look, it's like I've said, Bryce Young's best year in college matched Baker Mayfield's best year in college.
Right.
And we complained last year about Baker Mayfield getting balls batted, and Bryce Young is smaller than Baker Mayfield. That's my only issue.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I think that people are like last year. People, even though I was a bit of a defender of Baker early on, like people were just shitting on him because he was short, right? Like he's getting balls batted, and they were talking about this is why you don't go after a quarterback that's short like this. And then now that Bryce Young is on the board, like it's a completely different scenario. It's very people have made their opinions, very clear that it wasn't really about Baker's height. It was about Baker being Baker. That was really what it was. That was all that it was.
And to be honest, Greg, I don't know that the batted balls thing is tied to height anymore. To me, it's Herbert has batted balls. Allen has batted balls.
Josh Allen led the league last year, I think. Yeah.
And to me, it's about, Baker always had this dumb pump fake where he would always hesitate and wait a second too late to get the ball out of his hand. And the defensive linemen accommodated for that. And they would get their hands up. And he would drift in the pocket all the time. I mean, look, as someone who has also been looking at a lot of Bryce Young, as we all have, and we're definitely going to do an independent video on Bryce Young and CJ Stroud at some point on this channel to try and break down the differences between these two, because we owe it to ourselves, man. These are, the Panthers are at a crossroads in the history of their organization with these two quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. But the thing that you'll notice about Bryce is that he's good at creating the throwing lanes from inside the pocket. He can step to the side in a moment and be able to see between the tackle and the guard and put the ball right where it needs to be. I was also someone that was very concerned about his height and weight. But the more you watch this film, I'm starting to compare him to Drew Brees more and more. Now, I think he's a more athletic version of Drew Brees, but the ability to know pre and post snap what's happening and to always have an answer for what the defense is doing, Bryce Young is exceptional at that. He has such elite mental processing when it comes to football IQ. Yeah, it's easy to understand why most outlets have Bryce Young as the number one.
I feel like Lynn here. Is I like both, feel more comfortable with Stroud. I feel like you guys are going to just change my mind with every positive comment you make about one of these guys.
Right.
So this week I've been Stroud lately. Now I'm starting to be more Bryce Young. And then to next week I'll be Stroud again.
When are you going to be on Levis is the question.
No, I've zeroed in on these two guys. I am not going to be wooed by AR.
Yeah.
I'm going to root for Anthony Richardson throughout his career. I hope he turns into anybody that compares yourself to my man Cam. Not he doesn't compare himself, as people call him Baby Cam, and he does say that he looked at Cam's play too, which I love. Is I'm gonna be rooting for him, but at this moment I'm not going to be wooed by the short skirt of the group. You know what I'm saying? Is like at this point we're trying to find a wife here, and that looks like a fun weekend. You know what I'm saying? We need a marriage right now.
Stability.
And the thing though is this is now the only reason I'm not confident. The only reason I lean more Stroud is because of the size. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
But then I start to think this. What if Stroud has more of the football makeup? You know, Stroud looks like he doesn't ever look excited. Have you ever seen like he looks like?
Tony, it's funny
And
you
I'm
mentioned
just
that.
like,
Joe Burrow's like that.
Dude, I joked on Twitter that you almost never see a picture of CJ Stroud smiling.
it's like he's just like at a birthday party he don't want to be at or something. Like, it's like he don't know whose birthday it is or what.
But dude, I mean, to me, he seems even keel. Like they talk about not getting too high, not getting too low, and he does seem like an even keel kind of person.
But you have to have like an aggressive alpha gene, I think, to be quarterback, to handle those receivers, to be a general. And I don't know, and maybe I'm reading too much into just his facial expressions. You know, it's just like his like it's just the way he looks is the only thing. You see him one time he was doing the band.
The marching band thing. Yeah.
And it was like, so then I'm like, man, maybe Bryce Young has got the it thing though. So now I'm back over, you know, it's like, it's the it thing. And then I watch some of these things and then everybody shows me this crap. And I tell you this, if CJ Stroud would have beat Georgia, he would be consensus #1 right now.
And you know,
and he almost did. It was not him is the reason that he didn't beat Georgia.
It was not
it was
at all
their
because
defense.
It was up, dude. Like he stepped up and he did and this is what I was talking about, I believe, last night. Like he stepped up in one of the biggest moments in his college career, and he delivered when he needed to deliver.
And people thought they were going to get waxed, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Well, whether they thought that or whether they thought that he was just going to be he wasn't going to be athletic or anything. He proved a lot of people wrong in a lot of different ways. Like the dude is not a chump, and that's why I'm like, at this point in time, I'm optimistic for either of these two guys. But if I'm a bit concerned about the fact that Bryce Young has the size that he does, it's just so difficult for me to want to put that extra, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to put that extra draft capital into him for him to turn out to be another Baker Mayfield.
I also see all these videos of Bryce Young, everybody telling me he made this impossible throw and great read. And it's like, it feels like it's double coverage and he just got it over it. Like, is that some of these throws, I don't know if they're great or if they're good.
Bryce or CJ?
For the Bryce Young is like,
No,
it's like, oh,
dude.
they're like, look, window. And it's like, man, yeah, it was a window. But first of all, there's two guys there, right? There are two guys there, and the dude was beat by a foot. And you could say that it's either him being so precise or when we're in the NFL and that happens, that ain't gonna work.
That was my biggest issue with Stroud. I'm sorry. Like when I was watching Stroud stuff the other day, I watched a lot of balls he threw that looked really good in college, but I was like, that's going to get picked off in the NFL. Like defensive backs are better than that in the NFL. That's going to get picked off in the NFL. Sorry.
We don't know. Cool. Other things to consider too, Cody, is Steve Sarkisian. No, not Steve Sarkisian. He's now the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. Bill O'Brien was Bryce Young's coordinator. So he had a pro football type offensive coordinator already. You know, so it's not only is he's when you say pre and post snap reads and stuff like that, he's been tutored by a guy who thinks like an NFL guy rather than a college guy.
And there were reports at the combine that that when teams would show him stuff, like even formations that he hasn't played against, he would give the correct answer on how to beat them. Bryce Young has a quarterback mind. And again, the more I watch him, dude, I'm always honest about my evaluations, man. A lot of people say Russell Wilson. To me, that's kind of lazy just because it's like he's more mobile. I think he shares more similar traits with his timing, arm talent, and understanding of defenses. To me, Drew Brees is the comparison that I'm seeing the most. He's not going to run around, but his mobility from the pocket to me makes him Drew Brees with wheels. Go ahead, Steve.
But my concern with that is, even if I want to put that comparison of Drew Brees, Well, what do we remember about Drew Brees' early career? Is he was injury prone.
I wouldn't say prone. He had a shoulder injury.
Didn't he have more than one injury though? Like, wasn't
I think
there?
he had
isn't
a
that the
big.
reason
I
they let
think
go
he
of
had
him?
a real like a throwing shoulder injury that really made people start to question him, or at least the Chargers. We'll have to look it up. I don't remember him being injury prone. I just remember that it was is he was a free agent that came with risk because he had an injury to his actual throwing shoulder.
But there's also no guarantee that it doesn't go vice versa.
Right.
That we don't draft CJ Stroud and CJ Stroud ends up being injury prone, and then Bryce Young. Like
it's
one
just
thing,
one defensive tackle falling on him, like full body weight, and they're just like, "I'm gonna take the flag."
Yeah.
And it's like, and it looked like he would be like imprinted. I think that's what people are worried about is like he would be like imprinted on the turf or in the grass.
Well, and
I mean, those are real concerns. I mean, it's a risk. It's not a concern. It's just risk assessment, right?
It's more risky for Bryce Young than it is for CJ Stroud. And it's not me just saying that because the reality is if you're a smaller quarterback, you're more likely to get hurt because you don't have the ability to counter the power of some of these defensive tackles, defensive ends. You just don't have that ability to do that because you are you weigh less. You're not going to have as much core strength. Like, I'm not saying it's not
your
possible.
Bone density is less, bro.
Right.
Like you are a smaller human.
I mean, you're seeing this happen with Tua. Tua has been this is a question mark around him. His, even come into the league, his size and whether that's going to impact him. Now you have, Kyler Murray, unfortunately, after a few years having his injury now. Again, it's not impossible for a guy who's bigger to have an injury, but I think it's more likely for a smaller guy to have these types of issues.
All right, let's take another call.
Hey, boys, Baby Rhino. I have not called in a while. I just felt like it was time with all the news that is going around and swirling around our team. It's old news now that we have the number one pick, but I really wanted to kind of ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that we traded up for number one because we are 100% without any conviction chosen one player? That's the first question. The second question is these stupid rumors about us trading down. I don't understand it. Why would we give up that much and DJ Moore for us to trade down? I mean, I could see if they fall in love with two quarterbacks, but anyway, I'm looking forward to Cody's analysis of these quarterbacks because I want to say CJ Stroud, but I don't know. What are you guys thinking? And free agency, we picked up a couple of defensive players yesterday that were really important. Do you guys think we're going to go for anybody else? Guys, everybody hit that like button and subscribe to this podcast. These guys do it week in, week out. And as always, boys, keep it up. Keep pounding. Have a good night.
Thank you, Baby Rhino. Appreciate the support. And a great call, too, that brings so many things that we're going to, not only that we're talking about this evening, we talked about last night to a little bit, but that we're going to be talking in the weeks to come. And that is what really was the impetus for the Carolina Panthers trade, was the trade to just secure, was it for a specific player? Was it to secure a specific spot? Was it to bring some certainty into the future? And I think I don't think the Carolina Panthers necessarily traded to number one because they have decided who their guy is. But I do think that they said this, there is a guy in this class that's worth a number one pick.
Right.
And we're going to get him this year. We believe that there is one of those players, and likely between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, that we will decide in the next 40 days who to marry, but we would marry them both. And this is why I don't think trading back is really a real option. I think it would be a bizarre statement too about who you are putting the hands of your franchise into as well. Imagine if did we not agree last night, Cody, that Houston is the only person you can trade back here with.
Yeah, that is the only person.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't drop farther out. You could not
No.
squander this moment and move to
No.
like 7 again, or 4. Or something.
Not at all.
So it has
You
to
have
be
to-
Houston.
You have to guarantee yourself coming out of this year's draft with either of CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Anything else outside of 2 does not guarantee you one of those 2 guys.
Here is the thing. This is why I don't think trading back is a real deal. It's too Madden. It's too fantasy footballish for me. It's too draft day with Kevin Costner for me to trade back here and to moneyball it and to get some other picks, because that means that Houston has the conviction in one guy. They have the conviction that, like, we want one of these 2. We don't want either one. We want one of these 2. And then you are of the position where you would just take either. And to add on top of that, that you have all of those assets in analyzing quarterback, from Frank Reich to Josh McCown to Jim Caldwell. And then you're going to tell me that Houston, with a brand new defensive head coach, is going to have such conviction on who out of those 2 it is, but we're coin flippish? I can't believe it. I don't know who we're drafting, but I would be stunned and slightly disappointed if the Panthers traded back. I want a statement about our future, Cody Lashney.
Yeah, and then also, like I said, for all intents and purposes, you're letting the Houston Texans decide your fate for the next decade plus by letting them make the decision. You know, again, I wish nothing but success for both of these 2 dudes. And I think most of Panther Nation right now is like, hey, I like them both. I'm not disappointed if we get either one of them. So that's a good situation to be in, but neither of these guys are guaranteed to be successful. And if one of these guys goes on to be a perennial All-Pro and a future Hall of Famer, and one of these guys is a middling quarterback who flames out in a few years, that's going to be a big stain on your organization that's going to live in history. So if you're picking number 1, do your proper evaluations, have your one-on-one sit-downs with all of the prospects, learn what makes them tick, learn what kind of upside you think they have, learn what kind of leadership abilities you feel they have, and then pick and decide
with conviction.
Yes,
pick with conviction. That's what I want.
Going to be the face of the Carolina Panthers for a decade plus.
I agree, and that's why I don't think trade back is worth it. I almost think it's a saying that you aren't convicted. Like it's like an admission that we can't decide between these 2, so we're going to let Houston do it.
Yeah. The only reason why I would like it, though, is if we were able to finagle another first-round pick. Now, let's just say hypothetically.
I'm just
saying hypothetically. I'm not even saying it's going to happen. I agree with you. We're agreeing. I think we should pick whoever we like best at number 1. But let's just say we did trade down a spot, recouped next year's number 1 draft pick that we lost, and still came away with CJ Stroud. Like, that would be pretty damn cool.
If that happens, we have to just say this. David Tepper, you could save so much money if you just hired us to be your front office. We would have done this. This is something the C3 Panthers podcast would have done 2 years ago, bro.
Sure.
Like,
Hey, I said that the other day. I said we could hold Houston hostage. That was the whole thing. I'm telling you, it's possible.
Well, Greg, people were getting mad at me on Twitter because I was like, look, if they are, and this is if Houston is that desperate for the number 1 overall pick, we hold all the leverage. If you want to make a pick that important for us, essentially, then in my mind, that requires 2 first-round picks, number 12 this year and 1 next year. And by the way, they have 2 first-round picks next year, so they can afford it. It's not even expensive for them.
Yeah.
Dude, Lynn with the comment of the night, and it was a question. Do you think this special forces guy interviews them? Hell yes. That actually is, we brought him in. He's the decider here. He's like watching Criminal Minds, and he's the profiler. The special forces GM guy, and what he does. And when they interviewed him about this, or I read an article on him, and what he talked about is that great eliteness is a trait. It's not just elite football. Elite, like, is that some people, like, what you're looking for is that he's thinking that's a measurable at the combine, is your eliteness score.
Okay.
Like, there's something in you that you have. Like, what makes us, why is it that a Navy SEAL is not the best athlete? The best, they're not the biggest, strongest. You know what I mean? The Navy SEALs, like, their eliteness is not in being able to run the 4.4.
It's a lot of mental.
Right. Yeah, it's like not die. Like, yeah, it's like, I will live through this. Persevere. So, I mean, I think it's an interesting thing to think about, is like, what would his notes is like, look, is that if he's in the room and they do this evaluation, like Cody's saying, everybody's going to, when we talk about when we talk about X's and O's, we're going to go to Frank Wright. We're going to say, Frank, who do you think is better? Bryce Young, what can you be, like, who, like, if you could do anything with this person, which one would it be? Then you go to, I don't know, you would go to somebody else and you'd say, all right, let's talk about the athleticism. So you go to the like head of scouting or whatever. When you got to that dude, his one input would just be, I think this dude's got it more than that guy. That's what he is there for. He was brought in for this single question. Love it.
You're right.
Next, what else are we talking about?
I think we're done with all of the. Oh no, we got one more. Tender offered to Sam Franklin. Yeah.
Hey, special teams player. Special teams matters, dude.
It does.
Special teams matters, and to be Franklin about it, our special teams was very good last year, and we gave a lot of credit to Chris Tabor.
And Sam Franklin wasn't what he stepped up. He was a big part of this special teams unit last year.
Yeah. And this matters. This matters in football games, and the championship team, special teams make a difference. And they have hurt us in the past. And so, you know what? We're happy for Sam. Good. It matters. It matters. I know we want to talk quarterbacks. I know we want to talk defensive ends, but these are components of building a good team. All right.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to jump for joy over special team signings. Right. But hey, real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Coach P in the chat. He's the supplier of our brand new background that we've got right here with C3 Panthers Podcast at the bottom. So shout out to Coach P in Germany, mind you, because C3 we're international. So
thank you so much, because our old one bugged the shit out of me.
Yeah, I told him
I never got around to fixing it. No, really, the dimensions that was on the old OBS when we used OBS, which I wish we could use instead of StreamYard. If we were in the same room, we would have a TV show instead of this.
Yeah, we would. But
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you to Coach P. I mean, listen, that's all for the Panthers news. What do you say?
Got a couple more calls if you want to get through them real quick. It's like 3 or 4 more. All right, let's just.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? It's G Cavassier. Hey man, y'all seen what's up, man? Pat Eflin is gone. Finally. I know he played pretty decent at center, but we signed back Bozeman, which is good. And I just found out, man, we picked up Andy Dalton, man, as a bridge quarterback. The Red Rifle was in Carolina. I wasn't really happy about it, but at the same token, there's worse options out there. Then I seen that Stephon Gilmore went to damn Dallas, and the Colts for a 5th round pick. I'm like, why couldn't the Panthers done that, man? Just for a 5th round pick. I'm like, come on now, y'all. Because he was a decent corner. I know he's getting older and everything like that. And he's from Rock Hill, South Carolina, too. So I don't know. I don't know if they didn't want him back. I don't know if he didn't want to come back. But I was kind of pissed off about that and everything. But so far, so good. It is what it is. We just need a wide receiver, and we need some linebackers, like for real. Now, that dude we picked up from the Saints, I know nothing really about him. I know he's a Carolina boy, whatever, but we're going to see. We're going to see what's up. We picked up that safety from the Bengals. He looks like he's a damn baller, man. So we're going to see. Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
I'll go real quick. The idea of trading for Stephon Gilmore again for another 5th round draft pick would be absolutely hysterical. This was we weren't in the running for this. If we didn't want to pay him last year, we weren't. I know we would have traded 2 5th round picks when we could have kept him last year. Like he got a really rich contract with the Colts when he went over there.
But if we traded like a 4th round this time,
oh man,
that's a Matt Rule thing to do right there.
Hey, by the way, some due diligence here. I forgot to read this earlier. The real _AP said, but the $5 love bomb says, could Stetson be a diamond? And why is no one discussing him? Even with 2 natties. Oh man, it's because he's eligible for an AARP card, man. He's like 39.
Not that old.
He's 39 years old out here. Stetson Bennett, you know what I mean? I mean, listen, he was very productive for a national championship winning team. He's going to be one of those guys that some team takes a late round flyer on him. He's going to find his way into being a starter, being a backup first. And then when he gets his chance, he might never let it go, man. Faster and shiftier than people gave him credit for while he was at Georgia. But yeah, man, there's pictures of him and Theodore Roosevelt just chilling, you know, hanging out, having beers. You know, the good old boys.
What are you talking about?
Back in the day.
He's saying he's old. We signed Chris Winkie. I don't want to hear anything about it. We drafted Chris Winkie.
So. Yes, actually, that is a terrible. But let me see. How old? When was he born?
But hey, look, we're about to go into some of the news around the NFL. So with that said. Oh, snap. Going around the NFL. So, yeah, Gilmore was traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, I know we're beating a dead horse, but it still disappoints me that we didn't do everything in our power to keep Stephon Gilmore. Like, imagine him and J.C. Horn. I just think that would have been an incredible backfield. You know what I mean? And for our young guys to be able to learn from him. And he's obviously still playing his best football. You know, the Cowboys are trading for him. You know, so I don't know. It's a bittersweet symphony, Tony Dunn. I don't know how to feel about this one, especially since C.J. Henderson was not very impressive last year. Like it was, you know, his 2nd or 3rd year, and he just has not turned it on in the ways that we have wanted him to. So. Yeah, it sucks not having a Carolina native here.
Yeah, I'm really, like CK said, disappointed we didn't trade a 4th for him. What else is going on? You know, it's that Gilmore. I don't think the Panthers are ready for Gilmore. Like, this is, again, the last time he was brought in, I think, as a necessity, right? Didn't we trade mid-season?
Yeah, we did.
Like after we started pretty good with Sam Darnold or something like that, and that we thought we were going to be good.
We started to go downhill, and I think that was like a panic.
Because Horn got hurt. Horn got hurt, and then 2 weeks later we got Gilmore because they thought, oh crap, we actually were going to be good. I think, like you said, Gilmore. I just think, is that he's not a good fit for the Carolina Panthers at this time. I mean, maybe he would. He would always be good for the defense. But there's a reason he's leaving Indy. You know what I'm saying? It's not because he's not a good corner. It's because he needs to be in Dallas right now. Or not, he needs to be on a team that thinks they're a contender. and
And
that's
that
going to
would
help
be
their
Dallas,
defense
by
a
the way.
lot. Yeah, that would be Dallas, by the way.
And they have a guy, you know, in their in Diggs, Trayvon, or what is it, Trayvon Diggs, that is still early on in his career, and he could learn a lot from a guy like Stephon Gilmore. Again, it was just his contract's a bit too rich for what we're trying to do here in Carolina right now. But again, the idea of trading for him a second time would have been just unbelievably. It would be unprecedented, if you will, to have that be something that takes place. But hey, you know, I guess stranger things have happened. I'm glad that didn't happen for us, so that we're in the hole for his contract and another, you know, 5th round or 4th round draft pick.
Let's talk about tight ends. Somebody in the chat room said Andy Dalton to Dalton Schultz. Dalton to Dalton. No, but there's some tight end news around the league. You know what? We have not heard the tight end sign yet. Dalton Schultz, Hayden Hurst, right? And oh no, the Jacksonville guy got tagged, I think. Did he get the franchise tag, Evan Ingram? Okay, so he's not. There's a reason that we haven't been hearing his name. So we haven't heard any tight ends though sign that I'm aware of.
No,
there was a couple of trades involved with some, and here was one today, Cody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the bigger trades that really nobody saw coming. And there's a funny story behind this too that I don't know if anyone has heard. So so this happened today. Darren Waller was traded from the Raiders to the Giants. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but there were rumors at the combine that Darren Waller and his wife were getting married there, and they were planning the wedding and everything. Well, he told this to McDaniels, and they had a date set and everything, but they weren't telling anyone yet. Well, McDaniels goes to the combine, and he like blabs it and says it in one of his interviews. And he like put out all of this information about their wedding that they didn't want people to have. So apparently he was really upset at McDaniels ever since the combine. I don't know what that has to do with this trade, if it's a real story or not. I'm just saying.
His wife walked right up, or his fiance walked right up into McDaniels' office and was like, "Motherfucker!" And he was more scared of that fiance, that bridezilla at that moment.
Yes, and get him out of here. I'm not dealing with this one.
It would be like if CK came on here and accidentally told us the name of his daughter, which we know is a back end of the alphabet. We have been speculating through the night from Khaleesi to xylophone to Zelda to, I said it's going to be something like Sarah. Do we have any last fun guesses for the baby shower? It's CK baby shower. Thank you for the people that have gone and helped him welcome their new child into the world next month. We're going to do, is he going to be, or is she going to be born before or after the due date?
She's going to be before or after the draft is the best way to do it.
I think
because
your wife is having this baby
Draft
on draft night.
Yeah,
this
draft
is a
night.
draft night, baby. We are drafting CK's baby #1 overall. That's what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All
By
right,
the way,
what's
Teresa is another prediction I'm
Ooh,
throwing out
Teresa's
there.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got some questions. You got to like look into
add
the
mother
psyche of
in there, and
people.
you got it.
Yeah, Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jets are signing ex-Packers wide receiver Alan
This is
Lazard
fucking
to a
bizarre, dude.
4-year, $44 million deal. Dude, I don't know what's with Aaron Rodgers. Like, this seems like it's an Aaron Rodgers move.
Did you
Why
see the
does he
tweet
not
that he
just-
made a demand to the? He said this is that he gave them a list of free agents that he would like them to prioritize.
Which, by
Lazard
the way,
was
is,
one. Kevin Cobb still like he must owe him for something. Or whoever.
Oh, yeah,
Was
Randall
it a
Cobb?
Cobb?
Yeah.
Randall Cobb. That's what. Yeah, Randall. He must owe him for something. He is always. It was like Randall. I need Randall. Y'all to bring in Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, who I was mean to for the first half of the year, and then he started playing all right, and one other dude, and it was a tight end or something. And he was like, "These are my demands." My boy sent me this message, dude. He said, now this was from Will Brinson tweeted this. Will Brinson said this: Aaron Rodgers currently runs the Jets, owns the Bears, and quarterbacks for the Packers.
That's an incredible quote
Oh,
right
it's
there.
such a good tweet. I mean, that is like a Hall of Fame tweet. Aaron Rodgers currently runs the Jets, owns the Bears, quarterbacks the Packers.
And
Will
the fact that, by
Brinson, we
the-
salute you.
The fact that this is like number one, a lot of people have talked about this, but we're really wide receiver thirsty right now, right? The Jets don't have a bad wide receiving core. They actually have a pretty good one.
They don't even like one of their good receivers. What, Elijah Moore or something like that?
But
like,
that's the point. Like, it's
he
like
was good. They
Here's
don't
the
even
thing
play
is,
him.
you're gonna have, if they go and sign these guys that Aaron Rodgers is suggesting that they get in free agency, which is, again, this is all rumor. Nobody knows this is fact. We'll find out probably more tomorrow during Pat McAfee's show. Which, by the way, if you guys didn't know, Aaron Rodgers is going to be going on there at 1:00, and it seems like it's going to be regarding his decision based on the way that it's.
How
is he breaking the news on McAfee?
That's
Basically,
cool.
that's what
If he
people are
does
believing.
that, super cool.
Yeah,
that's
that
a
is
cool
pretty
move if
cool.
he does that.
Yeah, that's what people are thinking right now. It's not a surefire thing, but he usually does Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, and he's going on there on a Wednesday. And so it's number one, with everything going on, the fact that tomorrow is officially free agency, I think that that's going to be a pretty good indication of what to expect tomorrow at 1:00, especially since it's 1 hour after the free agency starts. I think it starts at noon?
Yeah. I think that this signing of Lazard, it was almost in the bag anyway. It guarantees that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets, because I think Lazard put out like 2 or 3 days ago that like a message to Aaron Rodgers about like, what are you doing? Because what you do depends on what I do. If he's getting signed to the Jets, like Rodgers is going there.
Which is crazy because I felt like Aaron Rodgers hated his receivers for the last 2 years.
No, that's what it kind of feels like. Well, again, it's similar to what I've
Like
expressed.
if they would just be better.
He's just been every time that he does something wrong this past year, I've noticed, unfortunately, that he just takes it out on his wide receivers. Like they were the one. He'll throw a pick and then he'll just look at his wide receiver and like do this whole thing for the entire media to see him just like basically saying, you should have done this, you should have done that. And it's irritating because him and Tom Brady both did it this year. And I was starting to like Aaron Rodgers. I was. This year changed my opinion again to being, this dude is it's fine to be competitive, but man, he's impacting people's checks, and luckily some of these guys
he's hooking this guy up.
And CK, didn't he say like verbatim that he's not gonna hold up NFL teams? Like he said, like he wasn't gonna make this some story that like.
Well, he's
drug
not. Last
on
year
and
it
on
went
and
real
on.
long. No, last year went crazy long.
Right,
Tomorrow
but he
is
said
the
that he
first day of free
wasn't
agency.
gonna do this. That he wasn't
Well,
gonna
he's
make
not.
it.
If he does it tomorrow, then he's not. Not holding up anything. It's not even free agency. Technically, hasn't even started. Which should we just not call it tampering anymore? Should we just say, look, this is the day when everything can happen?
Maybe. I don't know. That's how they go about it. But it just depends on what he does, man. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't make a decision tomorrow either. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't.
If he doesn't, then
I'm
your
taking my time. I'm
criticism
still
has.
wondering.
That's the thing
about-
is he is screwing everybody. He's not just screwing his potential new team. He's screwing the Green Bay Packers as well. Like that's the thing that sucks about what's going on with Baltimore and with Lamar is because Baltimore has no idea what is going to happen with Lamar's contract options. They don't know who they can sign in free agency. They have so much cap space tied up in that decision that they can't make any moves. That's why you're not seeing Green Bay on the clock as getting any major free agents.
You're right. This is a good comment right here. Is breaking news. Jordan Love is upset at the possibility of actually having to do some real work when Aaron Rodgers leaves. Here, I would say also breaking news. Jordan Love is excited to finally get the playbook. I have a feeling that like Aaron Rodgers just makes every quarterback. There's a Ben Kirk was a former quarterback at East Carolina Pirates, so we kind of keep an eye on him, and he was a perennial third string quarterback on this Green Bay team under the Jordan Love behind that. He's a big gamer. He likes to play video games online and stuff. He's pretty interactive with fans. He's cool. Pretty cool dude. And we used to always joke that like, and I don't know him, but I would always talk to my friends about like how he's like Aaron Rodgers wouldn't let him in the meetings. He would just be like, "Go get me a latte," and like, and we always said this is Ben Kirk had to play Madden to actually get the playbook. It's like Aaron Rodgers is so protective over every fucking aspect of every little meeting or whatever it is, and so Jordan Love finally get the playbook in Green Bay. Excited about that. What's next in the news? And then we'll take another call.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers signing a 3-year, $33 million deal. Las Vegas, this is the Raiders signing him. So, again, Raiders are not very happy with the front office or McDaniels and any of the moves that they've been making. I don't know how much people are into that either. But
yeah,
I guess it's an okay signing.
Interested in what this guy is going to be. He is, to me, kind of reminds me of the Chase Claypool. Is this like a guy that really is going to be good, or I would say Claypool is better than Myers. I think this is a NC State guy. I think Jacoby Myers might have gone to NC State.
The thing that's interesting about this is Devontae Adams put out a story after the signing of Jimmy G to the Raiders, where he said, if you haven't talked to me the last 30 minutes or last 3 months, don't talk to me now about this shit. You know what I mean? And so like you almost got the feeling he's not happy in Las Vegas, especially now that Derek Carr was kind of given his walking papers and you know he's somewhere else.
Now we're talking. Let's trade for Devontae Adams, bro.
I don't know if we'd be able to afford that one, dude. That his contract is unreal.
That's big.
Yeah. I'd rather get D-Hop.
Oh, stop.
I would. I'd rather get D-Hop.
I know you like it. I'm Adams, you're D-Hop, and that's just no money. That's straight up head to head. You know what I'm saying? We're in the backyard.
3 weeks, yeah.
3
weeks. I thought it was 3 months, but yeah.
Let's go to one more call, or we'll take another call. The number's 252-228-5098.
Yo, what's up, podcast? It's Juan Conley once again calling with the crest.
What's up, Juan?
I've been watching the free agency we got so far on Twitter. The signees so far as Cy, Bond, come back. Not come back, Cy. Then we got the running back and the center back, Bonnie. I heard a rumor said this might be true. Look online just to do research. I'm not saying what if, okay? I'm thinking what if this is fake news for himself, but if it is true, well, the Panthers may have come to agreement, maybe I heard of a deal with Andy Dalton. Do you think it's a good move or not a good move? I mean, I know we need a quarterback, but this may be, I don't know, do y'all think it's a good move, bad move? What's your opinion on that? And I knew someone broke on Twitter. I tried to look it up, but I didn't see anything. They said Juju Smith-Schuster was in agreement going to the Panthers on a 3 or 4 year deal. What are your all opinions on this? And the rumor to trade down to 2 or 3, with either the Texans getting 2 first-round picks this year, or the Colts getting a first pick, or what? Let's ask y'all, and have a good night. Keep pounding, Path Nations.
Keep pounding, man. Keep pounding. I mean, listen, I think that we're all kind of in agreement. When it comes to having a backup quarterback, you could do a lot worse than Andy Dalton. Like, maybe it would be I know it would be an entirely different story if we were looking at Dalton being our starter going into next year, but that's 100% not the case. We have a rookie that's going to be starting next year in the form of either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, and anything can happen, man. You know, rookies, setbacks, injuries. You need someone that can step onto the field at a moment's notice and be able to step up. And I like Andy Dalton for that. I really do, Jose. I think that it's like I said, you could do a lot worse. He's been around the NFL. He's a veteran presence, and he could add some of that mentor ability to whoever the rookie is, like he was able to do with Justin Fields. And Justin Fields says Andy Dalton was great. He was, good at giving him information and knowledge and letting him know things. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy about it. It's, to me, you could do a lot worse than Dalton. Boys.
I mean, I'm indifferent. I'm not going to get overly excited about a free agent signing, but it is hard to not look back at the fact that Cam Newton had a Derek Anderson to help him through through his initial introduction into the NFL, and Cam Newton came out on top. So I think it never hurts to have a guy like that's like an Andy Dalton or any of those types to help you kind of learn the ropes of what to do and what not to do as an NFL starting quarterback.
No, I can agree with you there. I think Dalton's a safe bet. It's not a terrible signing for me. And if our number one guy does go down by any means, then I'm okay with Dalton being there. I don't expect him to be a world beater, but I think he can at least, steer the ship and hold us afloat.
Right. What do you think the odds are that Dalton starts game one?
No,
0.
20%.
We draft a quarterback 1 or 2.
20%. Like, there's almost no way.
Yeah.
None?
Listen, they're gonna look at the situation that happened with Justin Fields and learn their mistakes or learn the mistakes of other teams.
Who was that? Trubisky? No, that was Dalton, right?
Dalton,
that was Dalton.
Dalton signed there with the assurances that he was going to be the starter, and so they did. They gave him the starting position, and they ended up having to give it to Justin Fields in the middle of the season. I think if you can start preparing your quarterback to be a starter in this league, I think that's going to put you miles ahead. And that's where I think the Bears messed up that first year under Fields or with Fields.
Well, you know what? Is the Bears probably didn't expect Fields to be there, as we all passed on that mug. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of like, oh, we didn't think we were going to have this, and so that's why we got Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Wow.
By the way, I found some more of the details on the specifics of Dalton's contract. This is from Doug Kayed. 2 years, $10 million. It's a $4.835 million signing bonus, $8 million in total guaranteed, up to $7 million in incentives. 3 void years. Base salary in 2023 is $1.65 million. That's fully guaranteed. In 2024, it's $4 million, $2 million fully guaranteed. So this is
where is all
deal,
the money at? How does that add up to all those numbers? Back up real quick.
That was just a fully guaranteed. But
I know, but like, look at we should be able to deduce.
It said up to $7 million in incentives.
No, but we know it was a 2-year. Was it 2 or 3? 18 million, whatever. Like, we've got the overall number.
Yeah.
From like the first tweet, that is like, oh, this is what he can make to its fullest. He's saying this 2 million guarantee, 2 years guarantee, 2 years, 10 million. But we heard earlier it was 7 million guaranteed. So look, his signing bonus is 4 million, and then he gets 8
million total
guaranteed
money.
That means that after you cut him for this year, so what that means he's 8.
Again, the 7 million, the incentives. If he hits certain amount of incentives, it's gonna go.
Well, that
up
would be like if he ended up starting and ended up being more than a backup.
Yeah,
maybe you don't know what the incentives are. He could have training incentives. If you train this new quarterback and he does this, then we give you.
I don't think they ever.
That would actually be cool. It's like you are now. No, as we created a new position, you are quarterback mentor coach.
Mentor bonus.
Well, I mean, you've got to keep it right now. Andy Dalton is, depending upon what he wants in his career, he might be interviewing for quarterback coaching positions at this point.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And
it kind of reminds me of Matt Khalil. We made him left tackle and trash picker upper of the stadium. I said this is that they needed to write that shit into that motherfucker's contract.
Even
because
that was too big of a job for
right.
Matt
Right.
Khalil.
I mean, it was just like, you know what? Is like for the money you're getting paid, I would like let every worker go after the stadium, like all the what would it be? 60,000 people because we didn't sell out or something like that. And I'd be like, y'all all go home. And then I'd just say, hey, Matt Khalil, clean this shit.
Earn that money. You can get hurt picking
Just
stuff up.
everything. You got to do it. What do I got to do? The whole fucking stadium. We'll see you next week. Trash, man. Trash.
You want to do some more news, or you want to take another
Let's do
call?
one more. Let's do another call real quick.
Hey guys, it's the girl that makes him howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther.
Joey.
Time to talk about the quarterback. We know that sitting the quarterback, sitting your rookie for a year and letting him learn behind a proven veteran, we know the history of that. We know that became really popular when the Chiefs did it with Patrick Mahomes. And I want to know how much of that was how much of Patrick Mahomes' greatness was what he learned from Alex Smith and what he learned that year? Or is it just because the dude's fucking Patrick Mahomes and he was going to do those things anyway if he started in week one? That's the first part of what I want to know. And the next thing I want to know is if you were going to do that, if you were going to sit your starter behind a veteran like Andy Dalton, who I think is a better quarterback to do that with over Sam Darnold, because really, what has Sam Darnold done? Do you really want Sam Darnold teaching a younger quarterback? I mean, I'd rather have Andy Dalton teach my
I'd do one more beyond that, to be honest
top 10 rookie, you know, the rules of the game and whatnot than Sam Darnold. Not that Sam Darnold can't be good. I mean, the dude loved to throw to tight ends when he was here, and he's got George freaking Kittle in San Francisco, and he's got wide receivers galore. So dude's probably going to win a fucking Super Bowl. And oh, by the way, he's back with Christian McCaffrey, who's like one of the greatest running backs in the league and is not the star of that offense. Yeah, that's going to be scary. But and hopefully we don't have to play them next year. But I think it could be. I don't think you would, dude. But I don't think you would not sit a quarterback for a year, even with a CJ Stroud. I mean, the only one I would argue against doing that with is Bryce Young because of his reputation of being so mentally sound. But like, come on, dude. I mean, why wouldn't you? Or why would you rush a guy? I mean, we're not that fucking hard up. Anyway, guys.
Well, I'll tell you this: the argument against having Sam Darnold be the guy instead of Andy Dalton is Sam Darnold still has hope to be a starter in the league right now, right? Andy Dalton is not coming in here with hopes of being the face of a franchise. He's had that opportunity. He understands his role at this point in time is not to be the guy at the front of the lines who's going to be looking for his next 5-year contract of $100 million, right? That's not his position anymore. Sam Darnold is very much, he signed with the 49ers for one reason and one reason only, because of the opportunity to potentially start. That is it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think when you think about what Trey Lance did last year, like Trey Lance did not look good. He did not look like he was honestly.
No, he looked like us buying into the draft hype.
Right. He looked like somebody a guy I wanted. He looks like all the reasons why people were concerned about him being a high draft pick, or even a quarterback in this league at all. Anyway, his lack of experience was going to be his biggest hindrance. Well, unfortunately, that's what you saw. You saw a guy who didn't have experience, and it just felt like the moment was too big for him when he was playing last year. And so
if Brock Purdy, which we know if the surgery he had is going to,
and it's not guaranteed Brock Purdy's going to be good either.
No, he might
it
not be able to
kind
throw.
of felt like he came in there. Yeah, I mean, he has the injury part too, but it almost felt a little beginner luckish.
Yeah.
For Brock Purdy. It's like, yeah, these are the stories we want to work out. We love this type of story. This is what the Stetson Bennett story would be if he goes in and makes it.
Right.
It's just like the Mr. Irrelevant guy becomes relevant. We're all rooting for that. But he could have just been on a heater. And now he's got the injury to deal with too. So he's going to be coming back. So he wasn't maybe the most physically gifted dude anyway. He's coming back from injury. You're right, CK, is that, and if anybody can, somebody said this in last night's show. I thought this was it was just unlock Sam Darnold.
Right.
It would be Kyle Shanahan, right? It's like somehow he could create success in what has been a broken shell. Man, I've come to really like Sam Darnold. And I think part of it is like a mama bearishness in this. And it's just like, man, people shit on him so much.
Well, he made it.
And I was like, bro, easy. Like, he wasn't. Yeah, I just felt lazy. It felt like lazy. Yep. It was like, yeah, he sucks, but he's not. I don't know. It's like, that's it. That's all you got. Sam Darnold sucks.
What? Yeah. By the way, I also wouldn't give up on Trey Lance either. Like,
what about Zach Wilson?
Of him to say that he's a surefire bust, and again, he's barely even had any starts too. You're not going to get good at football if you don't have enough snaps to play.
But it's part of the fortune of it. But Cody, what's Aaron Rodgers do to Zach Wilson? Well, I feel like this when you talk about Trey Lance, right? Go back to Trey Lance here, but then next pivot to Zach Wilson, because we have to talk about them in kind of a tandem, because that was all part of the same draft.
Doing number 3.
By the way, just so that you're aware, if you want to like talk about Trey Lance not having the whole point of having him sit out for an entire year is so that he could learn all the things he needed. Like you can't use that lack of experience anymore, because he sat an entire year to try to learn. While they did sit pretty good in the NFL with Jimmy G still at the helm, right? So they're like, this dude isn't. You're not talking about a scenario where Trey Lance is coming in here just on his rookie year and starting. He sat a year behind Jimmy Garoppolo. Now here's where I start to say, let's not give Trey Lance a pass on this, because we want to compare the fact that you have a quarterback sitting for an entire year, and we want to compare that to what Patrick Mahomes did. Well, guess what? Patrick Mahomes had Alex Smith at the helm, who is almost a carbon copy of Jimmy Garoppolo, like to a T for the most part. Like that is exactly they're made from the same cloth. And so if you want to talk about he was a good quarterback and he was able to learn behind him. I mean, Andy was going to Kyle Shanahan's offense. Like, you're talking about one of the greatest offensive minds in the NFL, and he still looked as bad as he did in the early part of the season.
But I don't know. I mean,
we don't even get to say he looked bad, CK. He only played like one game.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but again, it's not like, oh, he looked like the worst quarterback ever. I've seen some highlights of him. My only point that I'm saying is that it's too early to give up on him, and he did go down relatively soon in the season. I still think that Trey Lance can open up that offense in ways that Purdy probably can't. The entire point to any of this, though, is that you have a short shelf life in the NFL. If you can't show some signs of getting better in a short amount of time, then you're going to be jumping around from team to team. And unfortunately, that might be the issue with Sam. Like with Sam, it could totally be an issue where he came into some of the worst coaching in the NFL under Adam Gase, then comes to Matt Rule. And it's like, then once he finally gets some stability, it's at the end of his 5th year, and then they're changing their coaching staff. So maybe it all comes down to the situation that you're put in. Your ability to stay healthy is also an important factor in all of this.
He did only play one game this year, CK. He started one game, week 1. He went 13 for 28, 164 yards, And I don't know if he had any touchdowns. Let's see.
I'm looking at 2022. He had 2 games started on the same.
Yeah, but look, but then
he
in
got
game
injured,
2,
like,
he
early in
gets
that game.
hurt. In game 2, he only had 3 passing attempts.
Well,
So
look
you know
at-
what I'm saying? Like he obviously got hurt in the beginning of that game. So
Mhm.
he played 1 game.
Right. I mean, look at his last year. He played 8 games the year before, and he only had 797 yards.
He
5
was
touchdowns,
raw.
3 interceptions.
He was very raw his rookie year, and that's what they said. It was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. But I feel like this is CK. Are we drawing a little bit too much on? Would it be weird if San Francisco gave up on him already after just 1 game of evaluation in 2022?
It would if they believed in Brock Purdy.
Well, you've also got to remember,
Cody,
too,
they're gonna give up on all these guys for Sam Darnold. What if that
Maybe.
shit happens? I'm rooting
That would
for
be
this shit
funny,
to happen.
dude.
that would be
now.
awesome.
That would
Actually. Yeah, I would love Sam Darnold to blow it up there. But look, I mean, you got to
drive
remember
all
too,
these motherfuckers out of business.
you got to remember too. He also they're going off 1 game last year, but they had 8 games the year before that, and they've been with this guy through training camp, through practice. They know more about him than just his in-game play. So if they decide to give up on him, it's about more than just the mediocre performances he's put up during games. He was
This lends
supposed
to
to be a
Cody's
starting guy.
shelf life thing, though. This
There's also-
lends to Cody's shelf life. Is look, we're making such a. These guys traded up to the number 3 spot. They gave up some big assets to get this
Right.
guy, and ultimately, we are concluding what he is from the outside off of 1 single start in year 2.
Well,
Yeah,
even
That's
how
a
many
shelf
games-
life thing. It's
it's
like we
too
had the
early,
first bite
though.
of this meal and we didn't really like it, so we're out.
Yeah.
But how many he did play a little bit last year too, right?
I mean, yeah, he had some.
No,
I mean, he had some
played in 8
spots that
games
he.
his rookie year. He played in
Yeah,
8 games
he
his
had some
rookie year.
spots that he came in, and he made some big time plays too. Not a ton, but I mean, you could watch a
He
highlight
looks-
film on YouTube about what he was able to do last year.
You can? Is that what you can
Yeah,
do?
there's highlights
They-
of his
they exist.
first
I
year.
can
They
make a
exist.
highlight film about myself and put it on YouTube. And
I'm
look
just
good. Come
saying,
on,
man, there
Me
were some
too.
good plays that you
Yeah.
could put on a video reel.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is are these teams look, I don't think Zach Wilson has a future with the Jets.
No.
Who has a more of a future with their team? And I would say Trey Lance has more of a future with San Francisco than Zach Wilson has with the Jets.
Hey,
Sure.
did we talk about Bradbury?
No.
No, not yet.
Did
Let's
y'all
keep
know?
going. No.
Where he signed his new contract.
Well,
With
yeah.
who?
So James Bradbury has re-upped with the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's good.
Going back to Philadelphia to a 3-year, $38 million deal. So good for James Bradbury, man. Former Carolina Panther.
Hey.
Again, wish him the best.
Can I ask
good
real quick before we move on? The whole thing
Mhm.
about Zach Wilson with the Jets, like last year was his rookie year, right?
Yeah.
No.
No. That was the second year.
Second year, okay. What if?
No, yeah,
what if-
yeah, because he was the same year as
Trevor.
Oh, you mean this
Yeah,
past
yeah.
year?
No, this past year was Trevor's second year, so it was
He's played
also
2
Zach
years
Wilson.
in the NFL.
What if they're
Yeah,
trying to
2
not
years.
give up on him? Because I guarantee you they're only going to have Aaron Rodgers for 2 more years, probably max. What if they're
think
just
they're
saying
just
sit
use
behind
this as
Aaron
like a-
Rodgers? Huh?
Yeah, I would say you think this is like just to sit behind Aaron
Sit
Rodgers.
behind
learn.
Rodgers for 2 years.
No
and then
way.
See where you're at.
No way.
If they can
Aaron
still have
Rodgers
him
is
on
the
rookie
worst
contract.
teacher of quarterbacks, though.
but
He
think
doesn't
about it.
even give him the playbook.
Dude, which is ironic because remember all the stories that Brett Favre never gave a shit about wanting to tell him anything. Or
Yes.
be nice to him.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
true.
history
Yeah.
repeats itself. Time is a flat
That's true.
circle.
It is.
Aaron
weird when you
Rodgers
think
is
about
the
that.
worst teacher of quarterbacks, guys.
I'm going to laugh my ass off if Jordan Love is garbage. I'm going to laugh my ass off.
He's going to be. He's going to be.
By the way, Tyler Jones with the $2 says, "Hey Cody, Matt Corral, LOL." Sorry, I had to. I mean, dude, don't feel bad for me. Feel bad for Matt Corral, and just hope that our luck doesn't become such as him going somewhere else and balling the fuck out in a way that our quarterback doesn't. Which I don't think that'll happen. And it's not that our quarterback won't, but sorry to Matt, man. Never got his chance here with Carolina. He might as well not even be on the team anymore.
Has Baker signed with the Bucks yet?
Nope.
I have not seen that.
I hope so bad he does, though. I want to whoop his ass 2 times a year.
I don't know how I feel about Baker.
I put faith in him last year, and he let me down. You know,
Baker.
I don't dislike or like Baker
He's
Mayfield.
so basic. I just like how everyone's like, "Oh, he's kind of good." No, he's basic to below.
Look,
Last year with us, he had the lowest QBR almost ever.
and you know what? I can put together a highlight film of Baker Mayfield that will make you think he's the best quarterback you've ever seen. That's why highlight films are
No,
bad.
you can't.
Of
I
course
bet
you
you
can. Are you
money.
kidding
There
me?
is
Not
no
with
highlight film you
Carolina.
can make out of
Not
that.
with Carolina.
It's like, what if he played the
No.
same 4 plays over and over
Yeah,
again? It's
maybe
just
3
different.
plays. No, not. But
No,
I mean,
is you guys are thinking about it as what their contribution on the field is. I'm thinking of a lot of this as we do this podcast for so long is I think of like, do I like you or not? Like to me, you're just kind of a character in my story, my novel. And you're either a hero or, you're either on the good side or the dark side. And you're the hero or the anti-hero. And I don't know how I feel about Baker. Like, I don't like or dislike him. Like, it's just like,
I mean, no, it's like
I've never rooted for him, but then it's just like one of those people that I wouldn't remember if I read the book.
dude, I remember everyone being pissed off at me after we signed him, and I was like, dude, fuck
Oh, you
Baker
hated on some
Mayfield,
Baker. Boy, you
dude.
hated
Like,
him some Baker.
no, man, I never fell for that trick. It was
You
a
did
trick.
a little bit. You did a little bit towards the when we started the actual.
Dude, I thought that we
preseason
could be at least a middle of the road team.
Well, we heard him talking like in the media and the interviews and stuff, and like to have a quarterback who had charisma and everything is something that we were lacking for a while. I think many people kind of gave into that, even though it was against their better judgment. And so now we're here. So I think the funny thing is the amount of people that love Baker after him going to the Rams and having really only one good game, and that was that random just storybook
Slaughter
kind of
against
game.
the Broncos.
No, the Oakland game or the
50-point
Las
game?
Vegas games.
Oh, I thought
where
it was the 50-point game.
where they came back from behind. He went on that
Did he come in late in the game? He didn't play the whole game.
No,
maybe?
he played the whole game. No, yeah, you're right. He did come in late. And he brought them back and won in a final drive of the game. And like it was just this great moment because like and all of a sudden now Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback again in the eyes of the media. It was interesting.
Recency bias. Everybody's always a victim of recency bias, you know.
Well, like so some people said in the chat Baker was arrogant. He almost came in as a character that had all this story surrounding him, the shroud of being like it's like, oh, somebody's coming to the party. And you're at the party and you're like, oh, I didn't know they were coming to the party. And they show up to the party and they ain't as problematic or as big of a deal. He was just meh. Like his performance. I'm just talking about his like
with the Panthers
demeanor. Like I didn't have a
overall?
problem with his it's like it wasn't people say he's an asshole or he's the coolest dude. It's like he wasn't either. He was fucking vanilla when he was here.
He was the guy that came in that you wanted this to be your success story. Like you wanted to be the team that signed Baker
That's 'cause you're
Mayfield
short.
when the Browns get when the Browns
That's
get
the only
wrong, and all of a sudden
reason.
we
You're a
took him
short
in,
white
and
guy.
now he's
That's
great.
why you rooted for that.
You might be right, but I think a lot of people that's the underdog story you want to hear. Like imagine if Baker came here and for the next 10 years he was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for the Carolina Panthers. That's the story you want to tell right there. Well, look, they gave up on
We would be the most rednecky
Cleveland.
team. Oh, like
I'm okay with that.
we need a Gardner Minshew to do that.
No,
Gardner
we
Minshew
don't need none of that
Can
shit.
we play it
How
next
about
call?
that?
We play.
Not
We
a
don't have many
single
calls left.
one.
We're
we don't
getting
need Baker. We don't need Minshew. None of that. We need CJ
Gardner,
Stroud.
we
and
need
Bryce
Gardner
Young.
Minshew as a
So what's happening,
mentor.
folks? Yeah, some good news, bad news. I don't know. It's just news. But my question to y'all is, do you think before the draft, sometime before the draft, that
we actually trade a player for draft picks, maybe to get more of them, or trade for a player for player swap, maybe for a receiver. I don't know. I just have a feeling that one of the Panthers is going to get traded before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jeremy Chin.
I'm gonna give the ice up real fast.
Uh-oh.
Ice up to Greg.
Oh,
that's right, Greg.
The Andy Dalton thing, right?
Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Better than Cam Newton.
I told you I'd take it. I didn't say he was
Bruh.
better. I didn't say he was better.
Bro.
But I get it. I get it. I'll take it.
Not the Daywalker. The Daywalker will never
The
be
Daywalker.
Superman. Come on.
The Daywalker. I like
Come
that.
on, bro.
I hear you. All right.
That's all I got.
Let me just. He's right.
Why didn't I play
He's
this
right.
ball earlier?
I
Damn
didn't
it.
mean Andy Dalton is better than Cam Newton. Look, you can see all the Cam Newton stuff on my wall here. I love Cam Newton. What I'm saying is, if you take away that 2015 season from Cam Newton, and then you add up all their stats and all their accomplishments, Andy Dalton is fitting with Cam Newton. Now, I would take Cam Newton over Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton made it to a lot more playoff games, won a lot more divisions than Cam Newton did.
How
He
many
didn't win any
playoffs?
of them.
Yeah, no, what? How
He
many?
didn't win any of them, but he did do a lot of
Did
them.
he even make
No,
it?
how many
to? He
did he
never
win?
even.
He went to like 6 or 7 when he
And
was
he
in
never
the
won
Panthers.
one. He
Lewis,
never
but
won.
no.
That's
He
what I'm
never
saying.
won
That's
one
the
of them.
difference. That's what I'm saying is the difference right there. So, look, I Cam Newton is
Okay,
better.
we're
than
not
Andy Dalton. I'm not
revisiting
saying
this
he's
too
better.
much.
Exactly.
We
I'm
are
just making
not
it clear.
revisiting this too much. What was he
Right.
talking? Oh, the player trade.
Yes, it's gonna happen.
I mean, what player would we get rid of?
Chin.
I could see that. To
And
be
I
honest with
don't
you.
want that to happen, but like the
Ah.
moves right now, we had a caller earlier tonight that said it was Lovato. Run DMC Lovato.
Yeah.
He said this is I like the players that we got in free agency, but I'm trying to figure out how they fit the defensive scheme. And then I brought up this is like, how does Jeremy Chin? I said this, I put it on Twitter 2 days ago. I said, as we get these picks, how does Jeremy Chin fit in? And not that I'm wanting him to go by. He's actually probably arguably top 3 favorite player of mine on the team right now. But you just want to know what the vision is with the new staff. And if there is a player, who's a player that actually has upside that somebody would want to trade for. And I think it's probably Jeremy Chin on this team. Like that's if I was another GM, that would be the team. Who would you rather have on this? I mean, like, look, JC Horn hurt a lot and going to be expensive.
It would just
Brian
seem like a
Burns is
waste
going to
of
be
talent.
expensive.
Yeah,
Who would
maybe
you
from the-
trade for on this team if you're a GM trying to trade for value?
I mean,
And Chin's like at Luvu and Chin to me are like these guys. Luvu, I would say Luvu's the other guy I would maybe trade for.
I mean,
Are you not feeling
to
what I'm
me-
saying though? Is like
No,
if
I
you're
feel what you're
like
saying,
if you
but
are
to me,
the
it's like-
GM of the Giants and you said this, we need you to poach a player on that team that you can afford. Brian Burns too expensive. Derek Brown too expensive. Right? Like you're trying to find somebody, and Luvu and Chin are those guys.
I mean, listen, to me, it's such a waste if we can't figure
Agreed,
out
agreed.
some way to utilize the type of skills and ball hunting ability that Jeremy Chin possesses. But
Is
at
it
the,
easier
at the
to
same
trade-
time, I hear the other end of the argument, though, that if they're willing to get, to give you some value for this player and you're able to get some draft capital and you're going to have to pay Jeremy Chin, next year?
Probably.
So,
He's a second round pick, so I think you only get him for 4 years. Who's
we don't
easier
have
to
a
trade?
fifth-year option.
Who's easier to trade? Jeremy Chin or Shaq Thompson?
Jeremy Chin, rookie contract still.
But it's not as beneficial when you're not a first round pick, though.
Jeremy Chin's a better player than Shaq Thompson has.
And Shaq Thompson
agree.
is older and he's at a very
You guys are making my point.
position playing linebacker.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Chin's a star.
I agree. He's a top
I do
3
too.
player on the team for me too. I agree.
Well, the thing is that I don't know that other teams are going to see him as the way that we do. Like, we have the ability to look back at his rookie year and see that he was able to do what he was able to do. But from a purely statistical standpoint, like, he's actually been less productive this year and the past couple of years than he had, in his rookie year. So he's kind of digressed a little bit.
Digress. That's the right word. But has he? That's the question. I don't know.
Well, it's hard to be able to compare to the first year because he was
his rookie season was just so crazy. CK, like you can't. This is his stats right here.
Yeah, he's last year he was 5th in the league in solo tackles in his position, 14th in assisted, and 15th in fantasy points. So he's solo tackles a top 5 player. He's about a mid-level player.
He had a bad season this past year. He didn't play in 5 games. He was hurt.
Right.
And he's had over 100. I will say this. This is probably shows you how bad the Panthers' defense against the run is.
Right. Well, and
Jeremy Chin has 100 tackles.
But I guess my biggest point with this is that when you look at those numbers, they've just gone down every year, right?
Well, I mean, yes, they have, but like by how much? Well, all right. So really, don't just eliminate 2022. Is like, look, if we went bowling tonight, CK, and we had never bowled together, and you came out and you were pretty good at bowling.
Right.
And you came out and had your best ass bowling game by accident the first game, but then you had a really good bowling game after. I was like, oh, CK doesn't pull his weight. He had an incredible rookie season. It was incredible. He had like one of the best games in the history of football with 2 defensive touchdowns. And then in 2021, he was not bad. It just was not as wow factor. It was this past year that is the number. So you can't say he digressed. He only digressed this past year.
No, you can say he's regressed or digressed, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's actually regressed. You're right.
Yeah, regressed. Yeah, you can say that he's regressed because if you're in this league for more than 1 or 2 years, do you not think you should be showing improvement?
Well, this is clearly an injury.
Well, maybe. We don't know exactly what's the.
Well, he only played 11 games.
I know, but he only played.
Where 11. Are the other 6?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he's not injured. I'm just saying that, like, even when he was on the field, do you recall? When's the last time you recall seeing Jeremy Chin make an impact play for the defense? And this is me as a fan of Jeremy Chin. I want to make this abundantly clear. I want this guy to be a star. I've been a fan of his since his rookie season because of the way he performed in his rookie season. This is not hate towards him. I'm just being honest. If we're talking about other teams looking at him as a really big star, I think they're going to look at him as a mid-level talent on a cheap deal. He's not going to get top 5 safety or linebacker money when he goes up for his contract.
Right. Okay. Good point.
I don't know, but again, the last point that I want to make is that it's hard to stand out when you're a good player on a bad defense. I mean, this is a team that has been terrible stopping the run. We've been terrible in coverage. And we know that Jeremy Chin was upset with the way that he was being used in our defense. Like, he apparently wasn't even on speaking terms with Phil Snow at one point. So again, I don't think he's a middle of the road talent by any stretch. And I think that if you are another team, you might see how you're able to put him in a better situation that Carolina wasn't able to, where you could actually get the most out of him. So again, all of these things require context, and you really need all of the context to determine what kind of player
to keep him.
Jeremy Chin's going to be. And we need to know what position we're going to play him at and what's going to be best for him and the organization in the long term, especially now that we're in a 3-4. Things are different now.
Looks like Al just called in. Let's take his call.
Hello, C3 Nation. This is Al.
What up, Al?
trading. Why do we want to trade Jeremy Chin? Is this a rumor or something?
No.
I mean, he can play free safety. He can play strong safety. You keep him back there. And Andy Dalton being better than Cam Newton.
I told you I was going to take some shit for it.
No.
I told you I was going to.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh no."
Cam Newton won playoff games, multiple playoff games. Andy Dalton probably played like in 2 of them.
He played a lot more than that.
And thank you guys for taking my call and keep pounding. Have a good night.
Thank you, Al, for your
He
call.
was 0-4 in the playoffs.
Okay. I'm not going to take hell for it. Like I said, I'm just going to look at the stats. Like I said, I still think Cam Newton's a better
And with
quarterback.
better talent as well, by the way.
Yes.
Remember, I told you I had been fighting these arguments for so many years. I've been talking to all these people.
He's a fool, and don't I know it?
Now Al brings up look, as first of all, let's remind this is not a news we cover the news and stuff, but we ain't breaking news on this one. Jeremy Chin, I'm just saying this, and no, there are no rumors, there's no tweet, there's no single thing that is implied that Jeremy Chin's name has been surrounded with anything. But if you are an outsider looking at this roster as the way free agency and the team is being built, and you're looking at how is somebody maybe that I can get from them that can contribute at my team more than they're going to be able to contribute at this moment, I wonder if Jeremy Chin is in that vein. If I was an outside GM, and I was looking at the Carolina Panthers and I was saying this is like, what players would you ever want to trade for? It would be like a Kim Aquanu. Like I would trade for him. I would trade for but like if you're an outsider, you're just ranking the talent. I don't want it would be maybe Brian Burns. I don't want Shaq Thompson. It'd be Luvu. I think Chin is one of the more attractive options on our team.
Sure.
So that's it. So no, we're not breaking that at all. And I think let me just make sure. I'm not gonna go back to Monday right now. Let's see. I think that's it. That's all the calls right now. We got the ice up picks going. And we were on pace earlier about 10:30 tonight to be done by 11:15. And then Tony said, nope. I'm ready to take this shit to the hizzy and wait until you see the 7 ice up picks I got tonight. It's gonna be fun. It's like I'm trying to make it go faster than 1. But anybody, what else you guys got to do? That's it, right?
That's it. Let's ice some fools up.
So let's do it.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. It's the Ice Up Son segment. It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone or many people on the earth to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Everything is fair game, from family, politics, life, yourself, intrinsic, extrinsic, war on everything. And I just got to say thank you for the internet, because I'm ready to ice some fools up. God, I love the internet. This tweet right here is said it looked like this person's neighbor's house blew up.
Damn.
I saw that. What the hell happened? What happened?
Somebody said she beat Hey, somebody like an artillery. Look at that shit, bro.
What happened? A lightning strike?
It's like a Russia invaded. I don't know.
I think it's a lightning
strike. That was like the Ukraine.
It had to be like a gas main explosion.
All right, so this is my next one right here, and what I like about this is Tyreek Hill. Manuel Acho said, Cheetah, I blame you for this. This is your fault. And look at this. And first of all, these people, this looks like it was recorded 20 years ago.
What's happened? Oh gosh.
What? Look, he's gonna beat his ass. Look, this big white boy said, "Oh, look, I'm about." And then he tried to gloat this kid and pulled the cheetah.
How stupid, dude!
So look at this. This is what's really cool about this is when Emmanuel Acho tagged Tyreek Hill. Tyreek said this. He did it with the wrong hand, forcing him to get his arms and legs from not being aligned with each other.
Oh, man.
So it's like, bro, you ain't right. Look, he do it. You got to do it the other arm because he's still. Dude, it's a good one. All right, good. This one. Here's my next. I told you I had a collage of these. This one is girl finds her boyfriend or whatever other cheating at the bar. Not cheat. Well, at the bar, and it looks like he kisses this girl. I don't think there's any sound on this. Oh. So watch this.
Oh, man.
Headbutt him?
Look, she fucking look, and then just pummels this dude.
Oh, my gosh,
Look
dude.
at him. Look at him. And then he comes after her. Hold up. It gets on. This bitch. Excuse me. I don't mean to say bitch. She fucking fucks this dude up. I'm surprised he still kept his feet. Look at this. Look at this headbutt, dude.
I just like that the first move that she has for him.
Hey, bro, she came in here like this.
To the
Look.
head.
Boom! And his head exploded. And then
That's a great first move. You break that nose, you're winning that fight. That's a great first
hit him
move.
right above the eye.
Yeah.
She's a real fighter too, because she didn't just like relish in the headbutt. She didn't just go.
I
boy.
would agree. I would
She went-
agree if she didn't just swing herself off balance there.
Dude, this lady, don't fuck around with her.
Okay,
Look at this.
Can she play edge?
Look at this first move.
Can we talk about the fact that this woman doesn't move?
Boom.
That he's kissing?
Oh, and then she's like, I don't know
She's just-
none of these motherfuckers. Look, everybody around this is like, what? What?
She didn't even look back.
All right, here's my next one.
Come on.
This stupid
No,
shit.
come on. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, go. Come on, Jenna, go. Let's go. Bad girl. Let's go.
What?
I mean, what is going
Oh, this
on?
is a whole thing. This is a whole society of people.
Yeah.
This has got to be in
Watch this.
California, right?
No,
This is
come
the
on.
most
Let's go.
fucked up shit.
Let's go. Hey, go. Come on, Jenna, go.
Look, I'm icing that shit up.
They're into
You
it, dude.
fucking
I don't know. I don't know.
mean,
Listen, I don't know if y'all ever watch Your Mom's House podcast. Dude, it's the funniest shit in the world. They show a lot of videos like that. People that are into like pup play and horse play and stuff like that. Like they dress up as horses. I don't get why people feel the need to put their sexual kink and fetish on broadcast for the world.
That's not a sexual. That's just a humiliation. What a
It
fuck. This
is.
is attention
Dude, I
grabbing.
guarantee you that's it's a sexual kink to be on a leash and have them
No,
walk
those
around.
girls just want attention. They
No,
just want to make
no.
a video that we talk about on a podcast.
I mean,
They
you guys
want.
know. I mean, Cody, you've been made aware
Yeah.
of the cats, the cat kids, right?
Yeah, but then I heard that was kind of some overblown bullshit too. I don't know, man, but dude, it is like a kink. The whole point is like, why do people need
Not
to
that movie, not that
broadcast-
video. That shit was just internet. That was like the epitome of people just wanting to be TikTok sensations.
Yeah, but people also feel the need to broadcast like every one of their deepest, darkest kinks. That's like, why do people need to know that, man? Like literally,
Yeah,
no one
I
needs to
agree.
know. No one cares.
We fell into the trap. How about this? My last one of the night. I know I gave you a bunch, but boy, I was on a roll watching these. I was dying. This is this is what you do. I guess this is probably in some Eastern country. I mean, I say Eastern, like Singapore. Thailand. Oh, this is awesome. This teacher is not fucking around, huh, man? Look at this. They threw this
Smack
thing
the
at him.
fire
Look at
out of his
this.
ass.
Nah, man, this is Thailand.
And then just
God, it just smashes this, dude. Love this. I've watched this like 100 times, too. Those are all my ice up picks.
Tony as a teacher is just he loves those types of
do.
videos.
I do.
Like, if I could do this to my kid,
I
man,
know.
I would be.
I was
happy
rooting
as
for
a
him
sailor,
in that
dude.
moment. I was rooting, like I felt like he won the video.
I don't have. I have the video. I'm not going to play it all, but I don't know how many of you were aware of the Michael Irvin situation that happened. Legendary receiver, played for the Cowboys. Michael Irvin. He's been an analyst at the NFL Network. He was supposed to do Super Bowl coverage. Well, he goes to a hotel, and he has this interaction with a woman who says that Michael Irvin sexually assaulted her. So literally, just because of the accusation, they pulled Michael Irvin from everything related to the Super Bowl. He's not on the NFL Network, didn't do anything. Well, today they released the video of the interaction between Michael Irvin and the woman. All they did was talk in front of each other. Michael Irvin never put a hand on this woman at all whatsoever. And it's shit like that where it's like, we live in such a crazy world with accusations and everything. I just feel like if you're going to make an accusation and lie about what someone did to you, just so that way you can make a quick buck in a lawsuit, like that is creepy shit. And I believe that when you make fake accusations, it should be under threat of penalty, under jail time. If you're caught lying about assault in any kind of way, there should be some ramifications for that. And I also think that
words
the NFL,
are violence, dude.
The
Words are violence.
The NFL Network personally owes Michael Irvin an apology.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also, I'll let you finish that. Sorry, Cody.
No, I just ice up to the girl and ice up to NFL Network for not believing their guy.
Mm-hmm. That's such a tricky situation, though. And here's the only thing that's really up, like, and I've tried to think this through, and I'll keep this brief, but the thing that's tough about it is, so if you, a lot of times, you think that the woman, like, I would think that the woman should get almost the same punishment that the man would get if they were found guilty, right? Because you could have had a guy who was found guilty of that because of a false accusation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but then I feel like when you start doing that, you actually discourage people that have had that type of attack from actually even reporting their stuff, because now they're afraid, well, what if they say that this didn't actually happen to me, and now I'm going to go to jail over this. So I don't know what the solution is, but it's certainly not take him off the air with no evidence other than somebody's word, but it is certainly a much more complex circumstance than just simply, and I'm not saying this is what you're saying, but just simply saying that they need to be held accountable because it's so deep as far as the complexities there.
I've been listening to this wonderful book. It's called The Coddling of the American Mind. They speak to a lot of those things that you guys are talking about. Some people said in the chat room that, like, when something does happen, that this undermines, like, it's kind of like a cry wolf mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that comes about
real people that have really been assaulted.
But the thing is, and there's kind of a common thread now of where words are equivocated to violence. So it's like, he offended me, so he assaulted me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your words, like, so is this is like, in this case, there's probably somebody that said he verbally raped her or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that, and this is what the word, like, discourse becomes a call out culture. It's just tough. It's just tough. Is like, this is why, thankfully, we're going to hopefully hold on to the justice system. And I don't know if we need to socially lynch people at first.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, maybe we need to be careful of them and cautious of them,
How
and maybe
about
not
this?
give them a
Don't
raise. But
lie.
Jesus.
Don't be a lying piece
Yeah.
of shit.
There you
Don't be someone that has to fucking latch
There you go.
on because you want attention or you want a paycheck or now you want to be able to have a sob and cry story about how much of a victim you are. Like, that's some bullshit. Don't be a lying piece
The other
of
guy
shit.
too, right?
Well, here's the thing
crazy
about
ass
that, too.
motherfucker.
Here's what I think should be the case with that. I think that the same right that should be afforded to you from a criminal standpoint should be the same right you have socially, right? So you should not be able to have people accuse you of certain things online without there being a due process involved there.
Right.
And if you do, I think there should be, and they do have this. It's not something that's not in the law. You can be sued for, talking bad about somebody about something that's not true or something like that. But it should be a lot more easily enforced than it isn't right now. It's very difficult to enforce that type of stuff.
We have to socially police this, like Cody's doing. Just don't be a lying piece of shit. It's time to socially police this.
Don't be a piece of shit. And by the way, I'm telling you, we have to shame people for virtue signaling. The people that want to pat themselves on the back for having an opinion, but meanwhile they've never done anything to help another person in their entire fucking life. Like, no, shut up. No one wants to hear your bullshit opinion.
I love it.
Right.
I love it. All right. Who's next?
I was gonna say mine ties actually right into what both CK and Cody are saying right here. One about people lying to get clout, and I guess two about people making a bigger deal about something that's not a big deal. But that kind of takes away from a real issue that is a big deal. And I'm icing up Kendrick Perkins, man. I don't know if y'all know about any of this news. He's a NBA analyst, former player. He got into some heat this week with JJ Redick, and I'm so glad JJ Redick stood up to him, and he's getting a lot of praise for the way he stood up to him. But basically, what Kendrick Perkins did was he got on this this kick where he was saying that the NBA voters for the NBA MVP are racist because Nikola Jokic may win his third in a row this year. Or maybe second round. I can't remember. But he may win it, and Joel Embiid's having a great year too. It's still a race. They're still both going on. But the
By
fact
the way,
that
I've
he
never heard of most of these names.
well, the fact that he would say this is absolutely insane because what he did was he got on and he gave false stats. Okay, he said that there have only been 3 white players to win the NBA MVP since 1990, and all 3 of them didn't lead in scoring. Which one is not the only thing that goes into the MVP is scoring, but he was wrong about that. And then JJ Redick calls him out because he cut it off right in 1990, where the 4 years prior to that, Magic Johnson won it 3 times, and he wasn't he wasn't the top 10 in scoring in the league. So he called him out on that. And then he comes to this makes the statement of, I don't even know what the criteria is for voting for the MVP anymore. He puts a vote in. He's one of the guys that votes, and he's claiming that he doesn't know the criteria. Look, since 1956, there have been 8 white MVPs and 23 black MVPs. Okay? So this is not racist by any means. He also said that 90% of the voters were white, which the NBA came out almost immediately and said, no, that's not true. You're lying about that. So he spit a bunch of lies out to try to push this racist narrative because he wants Joel Embiid to win the MVP, and he's deserving of it. But because he thinks that certain people want Jokic to win it and he's white, the NBA is all of a sudden the most inclusive, best-run sports organization in the world is racist. And I'm icing him up for that, man, because he's trying to push a narrative. He got called out for it, and he ain't said much in the last few days since he got called out for it, and then basically was told everything he said was a lie. And I can't stand people pushing this narrative for, like CK says, racism is a problem. And when you do little things like this to try to make it seem like this is a problem and push a narrative, you're taking away from what the real problem is. The NBA is not racist.
The only thing I know about this, Greg, is that I saw Stephen A. One morning on First Take. They had him and another guy on there, and they had this one white pundit. And again, I'm not the right person to even talk about this.
Probably exactly.
But he kind of blew up and said, "Yeah, this is like reverse racism." Again, I don't know shit about it, but I know it caused a controversy on First Take because it got into like a really, really awkward fight on ESPN.
It was crazy.
Are you guys talking about the guy from Dallas? Is
No,
that his name?
Jokic is from Utah.
Oh, is he the big center?
Yeah.
Who's the guy that's the Dallas kid?
That was Dirk Nowitzki.
No. There's a Don
Luka Doncic.
Oh, Luka Doncic. Yeah, he's not.
that guy. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I was about to say, is because I don't like them because they play that Euro style basketball. I like my American style basketball. They play that extra step. I think they travel on every play. But all right, ice up.
Yeah, ice
Who's
up
next?
I don't have one, so
there we go. Ice up to CK for not having an ice up pick. Don't forget, we had a baby shower tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Sorry, CK. It wasn't as planned as if my wife would have done it for you. If my wife would have done this baby shower, it would have been way cooler.
Oh, it was fun, man. We got I think 4 or 5 different people went on there and ordered something. So I'm very thankful
very
for those people. They will be receiving a personalized thank you note for your contribution to my future daughter's well-being.
Wonderful. Your future daughter, Mildred.
Yep. You got
Zelda, Meta World Peace, Khaleesi.
Oh, Zola.
Actually,
Diane. I got a friend that his daughter's name is Diane.
The best drug.
Zola.
Everybody automatically goes to Z when you say the second half of the alphabet, and there's like
I know.
13 more
Didn't they
letters
really
there.
go all the way to the end? It's like, what about
13 letters in the second
Sarah?
half of the alphabet?
What
like-
about Teresa? What about
Yeah.
Sarah? All right,
nothing
that's
like that.
That's the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We do it with a wonderful group of people. This chat room is lit. The calls are lit. The number's 252-228-5098. The conversation on Discord is always popping. We just want to do this. We want this to be a place where fans come and have discussion. That's it. This is your podcast. These are your calls. CarolinaCatChronicles.com could be your website. What I mean by that is contact me. Let's have fun with this. Let's open up the floodgates of fan discussion. And I know a man that will lead the charge is Cody Lashney. He's my wheel man. He's here with me each and every week. Tell them how they can get after you, what we need to be paying attention to in the coming days.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. And every Friday at 7 p.m., you can be a part of the Friday Free For All, where you join the C3 Panthers podcast and make your opinion and voice heard. Join the show via StreamYard. Come and hang out, chat with us. That's every Friday at 7 p.m. That's the Friday Free For All. You can also catch my written draft content at drafttech.com, where I am the analyst for the Carolina Panthers. That's drafttech.com.
What are you playing in the back? CK, I can see in the reflection of the game you're playing.
Got to be Call of Duty.
It's,
What is it?
This is called Sons of the Forest.
Okay.
This is like a horror survival style game.
Okay.
Pretty chill.
I hope you find some diapers in there, CK. Tell them how they can get after you.
You can find me on most social media at Code Dizzle Allen. Now, I will tell you, we didn't talk about it, but I know we had the video from Bose. His wife Nikki said something about them being in Charlotte
tomorrow,
technically, or tomorrow. And they're gonna be. They said they're gonna be at a location to get drinks with fans if people want to show up. So if you're on Twitter, go to her Twitter and look up where that is, because it's could be a good time for you to get some one-on-one time with good old Bradley Bozeman.
Bring him a baby gift.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
like you jumped on the Amazon in the baby shower hosted by C3 for CK Greg. Lots of stuff to be talked about in the pop culture world.
Always.
And
Yeah.
where can they find it?
You can check me out at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter, and then I run the Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse podcast on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as soon as you do the free for all, hop in there, and we're talking about all kinds of fun stuff. We got guests coming on all the time with creators, different comic books, talking about television shows, movies. Right now, we're doing Last of Us, Picard, The Bad Batch, and one more show. I can't even remember right now off the top of my head, but we're covering a lot of stuff. It's fun.
Cody, give me a TV recommendation, movie recommendation, real quick, around the corner. What are you watching?
Ooh. Well, I mean, I'm a big time nerd, so I'm watching Vinland Saga. It's an anime on Netflix, which is really cool. Dude, I'm in need of some stuff to watch, man. I need y'all to tell me, man. Like, I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. They just had the season finale of Last of Us.
Right.
That was pretty damn good.
Halfway through game 1. So.
CK, the game you're playing again? Because you don't watch TV, you just play video games?
Yeah, Sons of the Forest. It's a PC game. It's not on any consoles or anything like that, but it's an early release. They just released it here recently, and it is fun as can be, man. It is a time killer. You basically can build bases and stuff like that, and
it's something my kids would like. It's a game I would hate. My kids would like. Sideshow said this. I watched Survivor, so I'm like the latest person to the Survivor party. I'm not on the new season.
Dude, when I was a kid, I watched all with my mom and dad. I used to watch all the original seasons.
I had never seen them before, so I started going back and watch them, and they're pretty good. So I have not watched the new one, but I did run across this one on Netflix that was called God, what is it? Outlast. It's called Outlast.
Yes, I was about to talk about this. Did you finish watching that?
No, I'm close. I'm getting close. They just merged. They're down to 2 little groups. But it's like Survivor without the tribal like the challenges. It's like Survivor.
On Netflix?
Yes. It's just
dude,
wild,
I
dude.
started watching it yesterday. Dude, it's great. It's like if you took they have a show
it's
on
Survivor.
But there's another show called Alone. And Alone is a really good show too. It's like they blend Survivor and Alone. And it's in one show. But dude, it's crazy.
It's pretty good.
You can literally find the other people's camp and steal their shit.
There's one group that went ham. This like one group turns out the one guy, the mean group. Like there's
I've
the mean
never
group.
wanted to go on Twitter and bash somebody for being just a horrendous human than I did with that group. That group,
them bitches are making that money. It's wild, dude.
It's survival. That's part of it.
Well, it's wild. You gotta go watch it.
Greg?
Just go watch it. You have to go watch it. It's pretty
worse
good.
than it's worse. Their actions are horrendous.
But it's a great show because of it.
This is my.
I don't know. Is it horrendous? Or are they gonna win?
No, they listen. I'm not going to tell you.
I haven't seen the end.
Here's the thing that's the most hysterical about this. All right. So this, let's say this is my ice up, and then we'll go. So there was basically there was a moment in that where the other team was about to raid the other squad, right? And so the guy was trying to prevent them. So he's in his camp, and they said, "Well, you have one option: you can leave, or you can."
I've seen this one,
right?
I've seen this one.
So they're starting to have this argument, and he's like, "This is wrong. This is against the law. You're stealing things." And she was like, "There are no laws out here." He's like,
and he should have punched her in the face.
He said, "This is the United States of America." She said, "This is Alaska." And he said,
How dumb, dude.
I don't think she meant that it wasn't part, but I kind of laughed at that moment too. I think she meant this is the wilderness.
He goes,
he should have punched, but see, he should have punched her in the face right then. See, that's the thing.
I wanted him so bad to do that. And that sounds so messed up. I'm sure he couldn't. But like they're sitting there tearing his stuff apart. Like, how are you supposed to defend against that without using force? Where in the history of the world has somebody raided your camp and you have not been able to do that?
Because you can't physically fight them. Do you know who's the executive producer on this show?
Who's that?
No. Jason Bateman.
Oh, really?
Executive producer.
If he's involved, I'll watch it. I love it.
He's involved with all Netflix shit.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
But he's like, he's not a director, but he's like, his name was on the credit.
Right.
Oh,
like,
how about this? Tomorrow, and this is my final recommendation. We're so off Panthers football right now. But my final recommendation is Ted Lasso. If you haven't yet watched
Came out today,
Ted
right?
Lasso, well, yeah, the 15th.
Yeah,
So
came
yeah,
out today.
literally 16 minutes ago.
Mhm.
But season 3 just dropped, and dude, it's one of those shows that it's a feel good show. It's
Mhm.
a family show
Sure.
without being cornball, without being like
What happened, CK? Did
try
we just
hard.
find somebody?
No, I'm talking about how have we not talked about Ryan Khalil's new show on Apple TV?
What
When's
is
this
it?
new show?
I don't know.
It's gosh, what is it? Hold on.
You guys got to check Barbarian out on HBO Max too.
While he's looking that up, y'all know Netflix's answer for Ted Lasso, right? Because Ted Lasso is a big deal coming out. Everybody's going to watch Apple TV. They got the Pornhub documentary coming out today on the 15th.
Oh, really?
That's their answer.
I hope
for Ted
I'm not
Lasso.
in it.
You're going to watch it to make sure.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn, that was my search. That was my search that made this.
It's called Hello Tomorrow. And here's one of his tweets from the 3rd of March. He said, the episode 5 of Hello Tomorrow is now available. Anyone catch the surprise appearance by a former teammate of mine in an earlier episode? Send me the first frame of this cameo on the character Johnny Zapp, and I'll send you an autographed memorabilia from him.
Hello Tomorrow.
Who said this?
Ryan Khalil. This is his show.
Interesting.
And
Yeah,
this
this is
just now
feature.
dropped, or it's been out for a while?
This is its first season, so it had episode 5 was released back on the 3rd of March. So I'm assuming it's a few.
And what's it? It's on Netflix.
Apple
TV.
And what's it called?
Hello Tomorrow.
Hello.
I'm writing it down. We're circling back to this.
Yeah.
We're doing a we got to integrate it into the podcast.
No,
Hello
wait a minute.
Tomorrow
Isn't that
discussion.
show? CK, isn't that show where they're trying to go to the moon?
But yeah,
Like,
I think they're
like-
selling a fake ticket or something. to the
Yeah,
moon or something like
I
that.
watched the first episode of that.
Yeah,
That's Ryan
Khalil's
Khalil.
show.
Are we gonna love on Ryan Khalil or hate him? Is it Matt Khalil or is it Ryan Khalil? That's how we're gonna rate every episode.
Dude, I'll support
If it was
anything
good,
Ryan
it was
Khalil does
it was
forever.
Ryan Khalil. If it was bad, it was Matt Khalil.
There's also a new Netflix series coming out. I'm not sure the dates that we want to check out. It's called Quarterback. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a documentary on NFL quarterbacks. I know Kirk Cousins is one of the quarterbacks.
I
for the
have
year.
heard of this. I heard of this.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
it was
I think they're picking 3 quarterbacks. I'm not sure the other two, but I know
Mahomes
Kirk
as
Cousins is
well.
one. Yeah, so-
Kirk Mahomes.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be pretty
and
good.
I think it was somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, that should be a good one. That's something we need to keep our eye on.
Yeah.
All right. That's
we
the
done?
C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night into Wednesday, we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Cody Lashney, take us out of here, my friend.
C3 Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.